Baris dan selamat kembali ke studio Sembang bersama saya Amy. In the studio this week we have the one and only Joe Flizzow.
Apa khabar?
Khabar
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for coming on the show. Untuk pengetahuan korang kat rumah, ni adalah macam di antara interview bucket list Amy. Dah bertahun-tahun saya menunggu saat ni.
I mean, minta maaf tak
no,
dapat
it's okay.
hadir lebih awal, but yes, you definitely hit me up like early.
Yeah.
Actually, even before you started your show, right?
Yes, I
but
did
we couldn't
hit you
make the
up
dates
then.
happen, and I'm very happy to see that your show has gone on to become very successful.
Thank you.
And I'm happy to be here. Terima kasih.
Thank you. The
I'm
honor
very lucky
I
to be
think
here.
is really all ours.
No.
And I was willing to wait lah. I was like, tak apa, kalau 5 tahun pun this show cannot end until I get this interview done. So
Thank you.
macam biasa, untuk siapa yang pernah tengok Studio Sembang sebelum ni, kita selalu akan mulakan dengan soalan sama, which is, how was your childhood?
How was my childhood?
General question.
Right. My childhood was very colourful, actually. I was born in Kuala Lumpur. I spent the first 2 years tinggal di Bangsa. Waktu tu ibu saya baru mula sebagai seorang wartawan di Jalan Riong di Bangsa, NST. And arwah bapa saya pun bekerja di NST sebagai wartawan juga. I think the second year my dad worked, the editor at that time, or the boss of NST, they had this competition for like a sort of like a contest. Like they sent the best new reporter to England for like a 1-year internship or attachment to be and my dad got that job. I think he did pretty well the first year. So when he went to London, we remained in KL, and before his thing was up, he somehow managed to get a job reading the news at BBC. BBC used to have a world service. So masih ada sampai sekarang world service. Tapi pada waktu itu di tahun 80-an, they broadcasted in bahasa Malaysia. So I think, I don't know, it was through a friend or he saw the ad. He just went in. He had no background in broadcasting at all. He had never read the news, never been on TV, never been on radio. But he landed a job. So then he just called my mom and like, hey, I'm not coming back. You guys are joining me in London. So then, I moved there at an early age of 3 years old. Sampailah umur 7 tahun. So buat 4 tahun kat sana. Tapi masih, bukan nak cakap ingat, tapi yeah, it was very colourful and very different childhood.
Yeah.
Sampai balik Malaysia, I came back when I was in standard 1, went straight to, we moved to Subanjaya. I stayed at SS17, 17/3A. And I could speak bahasa Malaysia, tapi pelat lah. I came back with a proper accent, like, it's so funny, like now I can't even fake a British accent. Like, it'll be so like, but yeah. But I felt like going to public school really helped me adapt quick. Yeah.
Sebenarnya, I belajar a lot about your early childhood from your documentary.
Okay.
Which korang kena tengok documentary ni. It's really, really in-depth, really insightful. And sebenarnya banyak info yang I dapat untuk this interview pun is from there. It's called This is Johan on View. So definitely go and watch it. Tapi something yang I rasa sangat menarik was actually the interviews from your family.
Okay.
And I know your mom and your uncle would always say that like growing up, you were a performer.
Yeah.
Always. And your family macam sangat-sangat supportive. They would say things like when you would perform, they would be there like giving you notes, giving you how to improve.
Yeah, yes.
Where did this passion come from?
I really don't know. But like I said in the interview, in the documentary kan, I feel like masa kita pindah ke London dan saya umur sangat kecil, saya rasa mungkin mak saya takut saya lupa atau macam tak boleh berbual bahasa Malaysia. So dia banyak mengajar saya bahasa menerusi lagu-lagu. Kan. Dan saya ingat lagi, saya punya favourite song time tu ialah lagu Bad Latif. Siapa bilang gadis Melayu tak menawan. You know.
Yes.
So that was my jam lah kan. So when let's say room bilik macam gini, so kalau ada, you know, we used to have a lot of visitors because I guess everybody that came to London would, you know, come hang out at my parents' house kan, at our house. And I would just walk in and announce to the room like, okay guys, it's time for the show. And I would just like, I don't know if I mean, gotta check my mom. I think my mom would put the record on, you know, like vinyls, and I would just mime or sing on top of it, and you know, with the whole dance, and that was my thing. It was just everybody knew that okay, a trip to Aisha and Ishaq's house, the 3-year-old, 4-year-old Johan would come out and sing. You just got to put aside 10 minutes for just. I got a lot of photos of just like, and these people, sometimes I'll be like, hey, that's their uncle. Wow, they're like quite prominent people now.
Oh,
Like
really?
40 years ago, they were forced to just watch this show, right? Yeah.
Dunia kita sangat kecil.
Betul.
And then like you said, selepas Joe datang balik ke Malaysia and then you went to school, this is where you started like properly picking up bahasa again.
I mean, I could speak bahasa Malaysia, tapi tak adalah macam bila masuk sekolah kan, macam, I mean, I guess being in London, you don't really hear, you don't see it on signboards, you don't hear it on the news, you don't hear it on radio, you just listen to what little bahasa spoken by, you know, my family and my neighbours, because where we lived in Finchley, and that area banyak masa tu pelajar-pelajar on scholarship. A lot of medical students from Malaysia, like the top students, were sent there to do their, I guess, I don't know, they specialize or they do their masters, whatever it is, again they do. I don't know. But a lot of in our neighborhood tu banyak orang Malaysia juga. Yeah. And my dad was only like kind of one of the few Malaysians that was working technically. So he was like, you know, one of the big bros. Yeah. So my house was a spot.
Was there any other culture shock for you lepas dah balik ke Malaysia? So I know like fashion started playing a big part even when you were in school and things like that. And you were always very unique, which is another thing that a lot of people said about you.
Right.
In your documentary.
Okay. Culture shock. I remember the first day of school, like, I had to realize the concept of money. I had to understand the concept of money because I guess like maybe my dad gave me like 50 cents or ringgit. I had a 50-cent coin. I remember. It's funny what you remember from your childhood, right? And I was like, how? Then I just got to the canteen and I was so confused. Like, what is this? It's like kids are just jumping on top of each other, like, you know, beratur macam kecoh canteen. That was different. Like in London school, everybody's lining up. You got your tray, boom, you get your piece or whatever. Then here it's like, this is like commerce. So, oh, you got options and you have buying power. And so, okay, I kind of figured it out. Like, okay, you pay. But I also got conned on the first day of school. I never told anyone this. By a bigger, by an elder student, like a student who was maybe darjah 3. I'm saying, oh. And this guy, he probably was doing it. That was probably his modus operandi. Dia macam tunggu and dia nampak macam budak darjah 1 yang tak reti pakai duit dan tak reti konsep. Dia offer kat gua. Say, let me, you want the ice cream? Let me get that for you. And he took my 50 cents and he got me the ice cream. And I was like, bro, this guy is the nicest guy in the world. I got a friend. He said, yeah, I'm your friend. I take care of you. The next day I couldn't find him. So I went up and I bought it myself. And then the canteen operator gave me back 20 cents. Then I realized the thing is 30 cents. And this guy took 20 cents off me.
That is a healthy profit margin.
He made 40%.
Woo!
So I figured that out too. So then on the third day, he was like, yo, come on, man, let me line up with you. He's a taller kid. and like he can just push through the crowd, you know. And I was like, nah, man, you owe me 20 cents. But he was too big for me to fight, so
So sampai sekarang 20 cent tu tak tahu lah ke
I
mana.
don't. Jumpa dia minta 2%. Minta 2%.
Hey, with inflation, you don't know what number that could be today.
Yeah.
Okay, so another very important musical reference untuk
Right.
Joe time Joe kecil was the Stevie Wonder concert.
Right.
So mungkin
That was, yeah.
ceritakan sikit pasal what this experience was for you.
I guess, you know how you see, you know, nowadays, like kids, they get lost with their iPads and their iPhones, right? For me, I think all my mom had to do was just like point me to the corner of the room, di mana ada records atau cassette, and I would be fine. You could leave me there for 3 hours, you know, and he'll be okay. I don't need to run out. I don't need to climb a tree. I mean, I did those things too, but so there were two groups that there were. I mean, not really two groups. Okay, my favorite group at that time was Kool and the Gang. You know, I love the song "Get Down on It," and I would just sing that song like macam sampai my uncles and my aunts were like, "Yo, we can't play this song again. Like dah berapa kali, takkan 10 kali dengar lagu ni kan." And dulu kalau nak rewind lagu kena rewind. You know, when you're in a car, you're listening to it on cassette. And the other artist that I was really a big fan of was Stevie Wonder. So I knew his song. I was a big fan of Michael Jackson as well. And Stevie Wonder came to KL. So when he came to KL, I was 8 years old. And my mom told my dad, like, I want to bring Johan. And I was insisting on going, like, I'm going, I don't care, I'm going. I remember a lot from that day. I remember the show was in Stadium Negara. I remember with the seats, it was like the old school. This was before they refurbished the stadium. And I remember the certain details of the seat. Like they had aircon vents. There was an ashtray at the end. It was like those seats from the 60s or 70s, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And when Stevie Wonder came on, I was just like, wow. I just saw like how this guy affected the room, and people were just like, the vibe was so positive. And alhamdulillah, like I told Mama, like, oh, I'm gonna come back here and perform one day. And I did. Like, it took us a long time to finally get to perform there. But when we did, it was in 2004, and we opened for Kanye West. So that was the first time I performed at Stadium Negara. After 5-6 years of singing, because we started singing Too Fat to Start 98. But like for some reason, we never got booked to perform at Stadium Negara. And the day we finally performed we opened for Kanye. And so everybody was more in shock of like, oh, we're opening for Kanye. We were excited about that. I was actually excited about performing at that venue because that's where it kind of all, this dream started for me, when I was just like, I want to be on that stage, So I don't think people really got that. Like, I was very, very proud of performing in an iconic venue that, like, a long time before that, I had told myself, like, yeah, this is what I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Which is quite strange for a kid, to have such a clear vision of, yeah.
But I think macam something yang I rasa sangat impressive pasal your documentary was the fact that it's not just throughout your career, your vision of apa yang you nak tu has been unbelievably strong in the face of so much adversity. To fast forward a bit, we'll start with the Too Fat topic. Sebab I know pada ketika itu, hip-hop wasn't really mainstream, especially dekat Malaysia, macam mana dia sekarang. And I was hearing things macam contoh marketing, before you guys even developed a name, it was just a cassette that was going around from friend to friend.
Yeah.
So dengan vision you yang cukup power untuk nampak sesuatu yang belum wujud lagi dekat Malaysia, what was kind of like that process for, and dari mana datangnya the vision?
I'll be honest with you, like at that point in time, I don't think we really had a clear idea of where it's headed. Definitely not. I mean, we didn't even plan past like the following week. You get me? Like, Kalau it was like really baby steps. Macam let's say we rewind to like 1998, and I'm sitting with my group. We're just thinking about next week. Okay, what we performing, what we wearing. It was really down to the things that today we overlook. Like if you call me, if I get a call now and like tell me like I got a show next month, I'm not gonna think about. But back then it was so fresh that macam okay, kita kena pergi cari baju, and then the cabaran tu macam cabaran orang biasa atau genre-genre lain pun ada. Yelah, itu nombor satu, we're students, so tak ada duit, nak bergerak pun kita pun tak adalah unrestricted budgets. You really have to think like but what it really was is, I think we were lucky because hip hop had already arrived in Malaysia at that point in time. It wasn't as if we had to start from scratch. I feel like hip hop came to Malaysia, through film and through music in the 80s. If you look like at the history of like, people refer to hip hop, to the four elements of hip hop normally, which is breaking. And side note, breaking is going to be contested at the Olympics this year for the first time ever, Paris Olympics. Breaking is a sport. In the last two SEA Games, breaking has been contested at SEA Games. And we've won gold twice in a row.
That's amazing.
Shout out to Lego Sam, yeah. And we have, Malaysia has representatives at this next Olympics. Breaking. Like, imagine, we've come a long way.
Yeah.
Breaking. Then you have DJing, then graffiti, and also MCing, rapping, right? But I feel like in the 80s, there was already like KL City Breakers. You would already have graffiti artists. You already have like DJs, people like 𝙁𝙊𝙇𝙊𝘀, they were like real pioneers. Late 80s, early 90s, we had groups like Crash Cars, For You to See, KRU, Nico, Naughtiest Maximus, Poetic Ammo. So we already had kind of like, and we had access to music from overseas. We had record stores. Every kedai CD atau kedai kaset waktu tu ada lah. Mereka mesti ada satu corner dedicated to hip hop. And the corner will be really small. Like kalau kedai tu macam ada 30 row, mungkin hip hop punya row tu just like half a section. Maybe like 5 CDs or maybe 10 artists at a time. But there were places that we were able to find, music like, and me being, my mom being from Johor, like I spend a lot of time in Singapore as well. So like we go to Takashimaya and buy cassette CDs. So like throughout my high school years, like, and also, meeting some like-minded friends kat Subang yang minat lagu-lagu hip hop juga. I was a fan first. I wouldn't even say I was a student of the game yet. I became a fan of hip hop at the age of 11, 12, 10, 11, 12 years old. Then 12 years old, I started performing, That's when I kind of like started becoming a student. At first it was like, songs every other kid sang in school. Like, Ice Ice Baby, everybody can sing Ice Ice Baby. Then you go to like MC Hammer, you see like out of 100 kids, maybe 50 kids only can rap MC Hammer. Then the difficulty level goes up. And then it comes to Naughty by Nature, and then you realize oh, I'm the only kid in this entire school that can rap this whole verse. And if you listen to Naughty by Nature, like hip hop, hooray, oh, everybody knows the chorus. But not everybody can spit the verse. Just like how you did your Busta Rhymes thing. I know I saw that not too long ago. You did very well. Not a lot of people can do that verse. Like, so you get what I mean, right? So that's when I realized like everybody was like, yo, you're kind of good at this. And I said, why don't you perform at represent our class, represent the school at IU Night? And that's how I got into it. And my family is very musically inclined, so we always have, always sing at family events. Macam tu lah. So at first, back to the vision, I don't think there was a real clear vision. It was just like when we first got our opportunity to perform at a gig, the first gig we performed at, which was on the 28th of March, 1998. We just wanted to add color to the scene. We just wanted to contribute and impress. Kalau ada orang suka, alhamdulillah, something like that. We just wanted to wear our nice clothes yang kita dah beli and duduk je kan dalam tu kan. I remember if you tengok Too Fat punya first album cover, Water Dilly, I was wearing a baby blue. It's almost like a puffer jacket. And I remember taking that jacket to the first gig because that was the one nice thing I had in my closet. And I didn't care if it was like nearly 40 degrees outside, Celsius. I'm going to put on this thick baby blue jacket and rock it, because it just made me feel fresh, made me feel important. I think that's what hip hop meant to me, rap meant to me. It just gave me that sense of belonging. It just gave me like a voice. I was this timid, shy kid that, as much as I was outgoing, but I was also very. I don't want to use the word insecure, but I was timid, But when I was on the stage, that was my alter ego. Yeah. It wasn't until much later that we felt like, okay, we can. This is something that binds the, youths together. Despite race, despite social class. And social class is the one thing that for me is like, oh, man, you could see like kids from inner city, kids from like, anak orang kaya, anak orang tak berapa kaya, still like forgetting everything, And hip hop is what brought them together. Yeah.
At any point dalam perjalanan ni, during the formative years of your career, did you ever have a backup plan? Or was it just like, this is it?
Well, that was my agreement with my parents. So they were like, Johan, whatever it is, we need you to go to college, get your degree. And, in case, But I had already, so I enrolled in 𝙁𝙀𝙄𝙎. I studied multimedia, broadcasting, advertising and broadcasting, and I majored in advertising. Prior to that, when I was in high school, I had already started working as a youth reporter with NST. So I got my first few bylines when I was 16 years old.
This is the one you wrote about Tupac's passing.
Yeah, I wrote Tupac's passing. Like that was, yeah. The entertainment editor at NST at that time was my aunt Saleha, and she was like, "Do you know?" I said, "I know you're a big fan of Tupac." Like I was sedih, man. Like literally, like Tupac meninggal, gua macam nangis satu malam tu, because I've just felt so close to him. Like I remember all his early albums, even before he got signed to Death Row, like Me Against the World, Dear Mama. These are all powerful songs. So my aunt got on the phone. I remember she called my house phone and said, "Johan, you know this artist?" I said, "Yeah. Can you do a little write-up on him?" So I just did a little write-up. Actually, in the documentary, my mom picked up, like, that was the second article I wrote about him. That wasn't the obituary. I think my mom got it confused. That was actually a review on a book he wrote. When he wasn't famous, when he attended the Baltimore School of Performing Arts. So they compiled all his poems before he was famous, and they put it in a book called A Rose That Grew from Concrete. So then after high school, before I started college, my Uncle Aman used to run like a creative boutique, like a small advertising agency called Big Orange. So I used to help him. I used to like be his PA lah, buat kopi ke, photostat ke, ikut pergi event, you know. So I had already, I think that was when I started writing first. Like I would say that, you know, writing for the, you know, for NST, you know, and writing like just shadowing my uncle who was at that time, you know, pretty in demand, like copywriter as well. I had already saw that path lah. Yang saya rasa saya ada bakat menulis. Saya pun tak tahu yang mungkin bakat tu akan later on tulis lagu. Kan? Bagi saya, you know, both my parents were reporters, you know, journalists. So I think it's just like, apa orang kata, apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Kemana tumpahnya kuah kalau tidak ke nasi.
It's in the genes.
Betul.
Yeah. So at the time when you made the decision to, you know, start Too Fat officially and go full steam ahead, what was the reaction of people in your life? Sebab I did ternampak also in your documentary that at one point your mom was saying things like she had some friends who told her like, oh, your son wants to be a rapper, and tone tu dah macam menampakkan, because it was something that was very different, I guess.
Actually, those friends, I wouldn't say like her real close friends. Because everybody close to the circle, like in a circle, like my best friends in Subang were like, finally you have a home.
Right.
Because you've been yapping in my ear for the last 7 years, man. Listen, you know, like, so yeah.
Yeah. So it was like this is finally happening for you kind of moment.
Yeah. It's finally happening, and I think like the ones yang macam, you know, they showed like a bit of sympathy to, you know, for my mom, like, Aisyah, these were all the competitive mothers, the ones that yang macam, anak you dapat berapa A Oh, anak you dapat 3, anak I dapat 6. Macam tu punya, bukan geng dia, kawan baik dia pun.
Faham.
Macam, tapi yang macam tunggu kat luar sekolah, yang macam like,
we all have the same aunties, is
yes,
it? Like, how come
the
we
ones
all
yang
know?
Macam ambil anak dia tapi anak duduk belakang. Then diorang bawa kereta, macam mak rupit bawa motor, jaket terbalik. And Sal tak boleh kena panas, anak dia pun tak boleh kena, don't sit back. So yeah, but I did get a couple of those, you know, like some of them came up to me and like, how can you do that to your mother? Becoming a rapper, what were you thinking? You know, she has feelings, you know. I'm like, bro, chill out.
Yeah.
But I feel like all these people, you know, that appeared at this point, I don't really feel like they had any malice intent. You know, it's just that very structured and traditional train of thought. Like, yeah.
I think during the formative years of anyone's career, there's always going to be some sort of struggle that you have to overcome in a way. And for you guys, apa yang I nampak pada ketika itu, there was a period, right? I think after you were under a label, which then shut down, and then you moved on and were kind of like banging on doors for a bit. And that time was kind of a specific struggle because a lot of doors got banged on and not every single one opened.
Hi guys, it's Amy dan hari ini Amy nak tunjukkan cara untuk buat air minuman raya yang istimewa daripada spritzer, iaitu Tropica Rose Sparkling menggunakan spritzer sparkling. Jom kita mulakan. Kita tak nak guna sirap Tropica, jadi kita akan buatkan jus Tropica original dengan beberapa buah-buahan yang ada in the blender. Okay, so jom kita mulakan dengan mangga. Masukkan buah nanas, buah apricot, pisang. Dan akhir sekali buah yang kita akan pakai adalah buah markisa. Lepas kita dah masukkan semua buah-buahan, sekarang kita blendkan. Dan sekarang kita nak letak ingredient istimewa kita, iaitu spritzer sparkling. Jom. Kita tuang ke dalam jam. Baiklah, sikit je lagi. Sekarang kita nak tuang sirap rose. Baik, sekarang kita nak tambah satu lagi botol spritzer sparkling untuk memenuhkan jug kita, okey? So itulah dia geng, Tropical Rose Sparkling bersama spritzer sparkling yang tinggal untuk hidangkan saja. So jom kita try. Sedap, jadi rasa. Jadi apa kata korang cuba dengan family kat rumah sambil dengar studio sembang? Cubalah idea yang senang dan berhasiat ini bersama spritzer sparkling. It's time to go back to the show.
And then people also question macam kenapa nak kena buat lagu dalam bahasa English, kenapa tak ada market. But you guys did that.
Right.
Kenapa? Why didn't you choose to just localize from the very beginning and cave to that pressure?
Because to be honest, both, for bagi saya dan Malik, bahasa Inggeris memang merupakan bahasa pertama. Kan? We were, at that time there were no point of reference, untuk artis bahasa Melayu yang rap dalam bahasa Malaysia. And later on we eventually realized that okay, we have to be that point of reference. We have to start. Because tak banyak pun artis sebelum kita yang bukan dalam cara yang kita minat lah. So I felt like just part of being, paying your dues as a student of the game is just to like regurgitate also what you've listened to for the last 10-15 years, which was in English. So we're so comfortable with this language. It was not a matter of like, oh dia ni belaga ataupun dia ni poyo. Kita tak reti. And kita tak comfortable. Itu yang labels mungkin tak faham. And I get that where they're coming from. Like, man, you could have just like fast forward this whole thing and rap in Malay from the get-go and just... But also you have to understand the indie and underground scene in KL was very weird at that time. It's very weird. It's very in tune with whatever's going on internationally. To a certain degree ada macam... Kita dah jadi macam purist sangat. And kita pula sebagai artis baru, kita terfikir macam okay, I need to appease to these, group of people who are just like, we cannot sell out. We don't, what is, the concept of selling out pun, I don't even know what is the definition of selling out. You see it, I saw it happen to a lot of groups. I saw it happen to OAG. Like OAG at one point in time, they were the darlings of the underground scene. I remember I used to take a bus. I used to go to KL, go to Live Center, watch them perform. I saw them perform in so many other venues. And then I saw them like sell 100,000 records and become rock stars. And next thing you know, they go back to doing gigs and they're getting booed, they're getting thrown things at them. I saw the same thing happen with Hujan too. I felt like it was, and I really feel like I think it is out of the system already. Sekarang ni dah tak ada dah. Sekarang ni saya rasa generasi baru ni saya sangat bangga tengok dia orang. Anak muda pergi festival, boleh ada apa segala genre sekalipun dan tak ada macam negativity, tak ada macam orang cakap okay, this we're not listening to, we're not supporting this genre, we're not supporting, everybody's together. But before that, I think in trying to find each and everybody's place, we ended up fighting with ourselves. So that was something that we had to navigate as well. And it's hard for me to explain to you, like sitting down here, but I hope you get what I'm getting at. Like, kita ni dah jadi macam, okay, there's the mass industry, and then there's everybody else. And like the grunge kids or the punk kids, they're trying to find their space. Like, where do we go? We're all like, so it was just this melting pot of, it's like the rest of the world kind of situation, And again, saya sangat gembira bila saya pergi tengok show-show atau konsert-konsert tempatan hip hop sekarang ni, dan ada 20 artis nyanyi lagu, ada lagu Inggeris tapi kebanyakannya lagu bahasa Malaysia. Tapi waktu tu tak ada langsung. So like for somehow your you punya apa, benchmark tu is determined by how well you can do rapping in English.
Faham? Apa goal pada ketika itu? Macam Joe cakap kan, it's very split up. I think benda tu sebenarnya wujud sampai hari ni. The giant disparity between groups depending on what language they speak dalam Malaysia depends on the content that they consume.
Okay.
So you can pilih direction kan. You nak buat dalam English, this is going to be your audience. You nak buat dalam bahasa, you're going to do mass, right? Pada ketika itu, what was the goal for you guys? Did you want to break into the mass? Did you want to conquer the underground scene? Did you think about it, or you just went with it?
Okay, we just wanted... Very good question. At first, we just wanted to put the album out on our terms. Kita tak nak orang bagi tahu macam mana. Kita nak orang tolong kita. Macam Ahmad Izam Omar, he played keys on a bunch of songs like Too Fat Baby, ''𝙎𝙊𝙇𝙇, all those beautiful like piano interludes were played by Izam, and we would bodek him like, tolong Izam, because Izam is a Berkeley and he's he plays piano like class. Like he played on so many like classic innuendo tracks, and we would like literally wait for him to. Pasal dulu Positive Tone ni, eventually when we got signed to Positive Tone lah. We got signed to Positive Tone with like a few songs remaining to go, so Izam helped put the finishing touches on a bunch of songs. And I remember like we used to like wait for him and like, hey please lah Izam, come lah, naik atas dengar lagu kita, and then kita bodek dia suruh main piano on a few songs. But we just wanted to really impress like our peers lah. And also our core fans in underground, the ones that stood with us in that 2-3 years through thick and thin. Jenis macam kadang-kadang gig tu 800 orang, kadang-kadang gig tu 200 orang, but the same people would be there. So it was important for us to appeal to them. But then when we put the album out, and I remember we saw like 3,000 or 4,000 the first week, which for an indie artist, I guess they were decent numbers, but like Ella just did like 200,000, Raihan just did 800,000, like lu jual 2,000, so then, okay, I don't feel like we were affected by that, but when we compared ourselves to other people in our label, like Innuendo, they just did like 80,000, 60,000, I don't know. OAG did 100,000. Takkan kita sangkut kat sini kan. So then we really looked, and then when we started performing at award shows, started doing more shows outside of KL, started doing shows with groups that were bigger than us, like Innuendo. We started opening act, for a long time we were the opening act for Innuendo, for OAG. We realized like, okay, if we can convert these people into becoming hip-hop fans, that'd be the real flex. That's really like spreading the message, and that would be the deciding factor lah on whether we succeed or not with the second album. So then we knew exactly what we wanted to do. Yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
I think for this portion, sebenarnya soalan I semua lebih kepada general, because I think there's a lot that's been covered in the This Is Johan documentary, so I don't want to be too redundant about it.
No problem.
So, but in general, I have a couple of questions, because I noticed that also during this time, like obviously over the years, you guys made so much growth as Too Fat. Okay. And I think at one point my question was, especially about the global mindset that you guys had, the partnerships and the collaborations that you did internationally.
Right. Banyak.
Why did you continue to contribute to Malaysia's hip hop scene and not just like uproot and go somewhere else and do it?
I did want to do that at one point in time, after Too Fat ended and after like I kind of like found my bearings again, business was okay. Because when Too Fat ended, it was just like boom. I didn't have a plan B. I didn't have, suddenly there were no shows, suddenly there's no income, so I really had to, what's the word? Reconfigure it, right? But when things were okay, I did have an opportunity. I went to the States, I went to LA, like 2009, 2010. And this point in time, I had made, I had friends other Asian friends that were living in LA, doing it, chasing the American dream. But I just felt like I hadn't done enough back home. I'm like, what have I really done dekat Malaysia? Apart from just trying to help myself. Like, it's always been about me. It's like, every day I wake up, I just think about me. But one day I just woke up and I just felt like, oh man, I feel like there's so much more talent, and this whole me against the world concept doesn't work anymore. For a long time I was kind of like angry at the industry, angry at what happened, why the group broke up, and then I'm just mad. And then one day I wasn't mad anymore. I was just like, let's take a step back and let's see apa yang saya boleh buat untuk membantu atau, I needed to rebuild myself, but also I felt that there was an opportunity to do that with, a group of people, like-minded people, and just like, let's see where this thing really goes, because I felt like the whole Too Fat story, it came to a point where it started like we were the new kids on the block. And then we were the torch bearers. Next thing you know, we're the torch bearers. Like, people used to come up to us like, hey, now's your run, make sure you take care. Next thing you know, we the gatekeepers of hip-hop. Like, we didn't want this. We just wanted to have fun on stage, and just suddenly there's this burden on my... And then it ended. And I felt like it kind of went haywire. Like, there wasn't unity in the scene. So I just felt like, okay, I wasn't done yet, at that point in time. Felt like I needed to write the album, like really explain like who I am, and I don't think, like by going solo, it gave me the opportunity untuk, okay lah, ni album pertama saya. So I did my first album, President, and I wasn't really happy with the outcome. It was still, like I said, I was still maybe kind of like angry. And it reflects in my lyrics, like it reflects in some songs, the projection of the voice. You can tell like I'm really like trying to prove a point, but I'm mad. I don't know who I was mad at. So I think for me, the turning point was when I did a show called Hip Hopping Asia, and I hosted a TV show. The whole concept is like we go to different countries, and the local rap star, the local DJ is your tour guide. And that really opened my eyes, because I remember going to Sri Lanka again, and I'm interviewing the rappers, and they had just come out of civil war at that time. Tamil Tigers just surrendered. I remember coming out of my hotel room and I saw like snipers on the roof, because it was still like sensitive timing, and and when I spoke to the rappers and I started listening to Sri Lankan hip hop, it's all positive. It's like, how mungkin music hip hop barat sekarang ni, bagi saya, bukan mungkin, memang confirm, yang terlalu banyak mengagungkan benda yang tak sepatutnya bagi saya, macam violence, drugs. I don't feel like these are things that, I feel like to a certain degree, in these parts of the world, hip hop is just there to dumb down society, and it's become like a tool, for propaganda. But in Sri Lanka, they don't rap about nothing like that, even though they've been through wars, through 32 years of war. And these guys are telling me, like, Joe, how can we talk about violence when I go to school and I'm walking to school and a car bomb goes off and, my best friend since we were kids, like, dies in front of me, like, when I'm 9 years old, like. So hip-hop, if anything, in Sri Lanka at that point in time, and hopefully still now, was the binding factor to bring people together. It was like the common denominator, to work towards, a more peaceful country. And, so like, that really changed my perception on like life, on hip-hop, and how I can take cue from, kita ambil perkara-perkara positif daripada apa yang kita nampak, and then kita try apply to my music. And I came back and I wrote Havoc, the album, and I just felt like, okay, now the story is, I'm telling the story better. Yeah.
Havoc is a whole chapter, and I have so many questions about it because I think something definitely changed. And it was maybe this perspective that you got after traveling and stuff like that. But before that, I wanted to ask you real quick about Cartel Records.
Right.
So this is a label that you started selepas Too Fat.
Sebenarnya sewaktu Too Fat.
Sewaktu Too Fat.
Okay, so kalau you tengok album terakhir Too Fat, iaitu Rebirth into Reality, at the back you'll see the imprint Cartel Records.
That was the first from Cartel, right?
That was the first, because Too Fat's initial contract with EMI was a 3+1, 3 albums plus one more album, with the option of signing. And we had already done the first 3 albums, The Delete, Plan B, and 360 Degrees, and this was time for the 4th album. And I just felt, I told Malay at that time, like, I wanted to kind of like own these masters. So yeah, that was my first foray into like being a label. But at that point in time, it was just like somewhere to park my rights in the album. Yeah.
I think the part that I was really interested in was, I guess after Too Fat disbanded, right? Then you decided to start making President. And during this process, the thing that I kind of saw is that it was not easy for you to start the label in terms of building the back end of it and trying to onboard your own business and in-house that essentially and manage yourself. How did you make this work? Because I think satu lagi yang kita nampak throughout, not just until now, your businesses, your label, you've been an incredibly successful leader. I wanted to kind of learn, like, how did you start this?
Honestly, I didn't know where to begin with the label. I kind of knew how to, of course, I knew how to make albums, I knew how to make songs, I knew how to book studios, I knew everything, but in bits and pieces. But by this time, I had already formed like friendships with, intelligent individuals in the form of Yanis, American, and also David T. And then they continue. We call ourselves I call ourselves the trifecta. And Yanis, prior to that, she had helped Too Fat with a lot of our collaborations when it came to artists from the States. She was a Malaysian living in the States for a long time. And David's was actually my first artist, but he had gone to do his law degree in Cardiff and came back and practiced for a couple of years. But he had always been there, helping me with contracts and things like that. And one day I just sat down with David and I said, like, look, I feel like we could really do this, but I realized, like, my talent lies in other departments, not so much like waking up 9 a.m. and picking up phone calls in the office and doing accounts, like, yeah. But I feel like we need to sort of like bring some structure into this business, and he helped me with that. So I got to give it up to like all the people behind the scenes, like people that helped me from day one. I think I have the ability to spot talent, and but it wasn't until I started trusting them, di mana saya dapat lebih maju lah. Yeah.
And kenapa dia penting untuk Joe untuk startkan your own label daripada macam, I guess, find another established thing, so you don't have to take on any of the stress of like figuring it out?
Because you have to understand that when it comes to business, right? They're not you're probably valuable to them when you can sell. And I saw also, like, I'm not trying to put this on anyone, tapi saya nampak artis-artis di waktu kegemilangan mereka sampai dia orang datang office pun orang turun dekat tepi jalan buka pintu, angkat beg, naik atas, kipaskan, bagi air. But bila orang tu dah tak berapa famous, kadang-kadang dia telefon pun awak tak angkat. So saya nampak benda tu. Saya dapat lihat benda tu. Saya dapat lihat, tengok cara artis-artis yang datang sebelum saya dilayan macam, and bukan tu, I'm not describing every person in the music industry, but to a certain degree, like, if you're not hot, it's just business, right? But sometimes your investment into the artist is also determines also whether this artist is going to succeed or not. So, there's always this blame game. Like, you're pointing fingers, I'm pointing fingers at you. Or, my last album didn't blow up because you didn't give me enough money. I didn't want that anymore. And also, to be honest, in my last year at the major label, again, I don't want to name names because the industry is small, but imagine Too Fat, right? Like the number one selling artist in the group, in the label, we sold like millions of records. And at that point in time, they had approved like 2 videos. We shot a video with Siti Nurhaliza. We had a song called Dua Dunia, and then we shot another song called Snap. And I wanted the budget for a 3rd video. And I met the MD at that time, and he was just like, sit down. Nak cakap belagak tu understatement. He was just so arrogant, and I just remember like, this guy is just like, he thinks he's the man, and maybe he was the man. And he was just like, oh yeah, about your budget for your 3rd album, we don't have the money for it. Like, I was like, yo, it's 30,000, 40,000 ringgit. Like, come on, make a few calls, some product placement here and there. It's nothing, But just the fact that he didn't really show any effort in wanting to like get it done. Like, for him, it's like, yeah, we're already on track with the 2 videos, and Too Fat's we already break ROI. Like, I don't need to do too much more. Fine. That weekend, I remember going to an event, and it was Kylie Minogue album launch. And this guy is like, hey, make sure you come to the Kylie Minogue album launch in KL. And I went to the event, and I was like, yo, where's Kylie Minogue? He said, nah, this is just an event to launch her album. And she's not here. No, she's not here. I don't know. She's not here. And I saw the bill he signed for the event. He signed a $50,000, $60,000 bill in front of me with his credit card. And I'm like, this guy, hey, I was mad, I was like, man, these are the kind of people that, like, I'm supposed to what? Put my future in your hands? You don't even, bro, you just dropped like 60,000 ringgit on a Kylie Minogue album launch without Kylie Minogue? And you trying to tell me like you can't find 30,000 to shoot your number one selling artists? I was like, bro, not only will I not continue this relationship with you, I will make it a point to like never be you. Right? Yeah. So I just felt at that point in time I needed to take control of our, every single move, because no one's gonna be as passionate for, your own music as more than yourself. Yeah. So I just felt like I couldn't be in that toxic kind of environment anymore. And it's just like too much, too fake, Again, not everybody's like that, but
Yeah.
it is what it is, And if you watch it, man, I hope you've met Kylie Minogue after all these years.
No.
But yeah, but it wasn't. But
Yeah.
it's not. I mean, it's nothing personal. Like I
No,
can't
of course.
complain. But it's just that's how it works.
Yeah.
So so what we did was when I started Cartel Records, our first deal was with Warner, and it was more of a partnership deal, which was amazing. Like I put ringgit, you put ringgit, then we make 50-50, and we are partners. So I felt that the love was reciprocated lah a bit more. Like tak adalah orang tu macam buat kita ni macam just artist je kan. Or sorry, just like a distribution deal, which works as well, but I just felt like there was a bit more give and take. Yeah.
Can I ask a broader kind of question? For example, like as an artist, the way that I grew up, I diajar yang macam kita nak kena tunggu rezeki tu sampai dekat kita. But I think that from what you've told me and
Okay.
also from my experience, lama kelamaan I belajar that actually opportunity, you kind of have to create it in a way yourself.
Yep.
Like how you did. You started your label and you started creating these opportunities for yourself also in a way. And you showed people.
We had to.
Yeah. Is that something
Because-
people need to do more?
I guess people are already doing it. I think like if you look at YouTube, you look at how entertainment is, what's the word for it? Digested or
Received
Received.
nowadays, yeah.
Can a lot of even with your own podcast, right? You still waiting for one of the big stations to call you like, hey, you did it on your own, right? I just feel like, yeah, that's definitely. I feel like as long as you're moving forward and doing something, you're on the right path. Whether it's like printing T-shirts for your, printing 100 T-shirts or making new posters or making merch. As long as the artist is busy, you're good. If you go into the studio, you're writing 2 songs a day, good. A lot of artists output tu tak cukup. Output tak cukup dan banyak benda mereka perlukan orang lain untuk menggerakkan jentera tu. Sometimes you need to get the ball rolling yourself. And it's okay to minta tolong orang. Like even for me until today, I like spending time in the studio, but I am a terrible engineer. Like I know how to turn on the Mac. I know how to turn on, the sound cards, and I know how to, but there will come to a point where I'm like, hey, slow down. How come the mic record got no sound, So when I book a studio today, like if I can't get Sona, I'll make sure that the studio provides me a sound engineer, so that when I get to the studio, hey, it's just me and you. Come on, let's go. Let me get in the booth, So it's okay to not know how to do everything yourself, but just like this, everybody has a function. Everybody is, busy behind the laptops, behind the cameras, and everybody has a role to play.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
President for a second. Now you said that this didn't meet your expectations. To use your exact words, wasn't the debut that you wanted.
Yep.
What was the pressure going into it that you put on yourself?
Okay. Why?
And why was it? Why did it not get to where you wanted it to get? What was your goal with this?
I think for me, sonically, like I'm such a nerd when it comes to sound engineering. Sonically, it wasn't mixed properly. It wasn't mastered properly. So it wasn't really from a songwriting perspective. It was just more from a technical perspective. You know, sort of like imagine kalau you dah shoot satu movie tapi alamak edit pula tak cun kan, ataupun colouring tak cun. Dia macam lebih kurang macam tu lah. Faktor-faktor lain yang membuatkan saya tak berpuas hati sangat dengan album tu.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also, but what it did for me was it did let me experiment with more Malay English. Because prior to that with Too Fat, banyak lagu kita dalam bahasa Melayu atau bahasa Malaysia agak macam mana nak cakap bahasa agak proper lah. It's quite proper. You know, if you listen to Alhamdulillah, like it's proper like Malay that you probably read and write in school, kind of Malay. But I just felt also that maybe there's a disconnect there. Because when you speak Malay in your everyday life, macam lu macam mana ni gua box shoot and jadikanlah aku tentera bisa. You get me? Like, bro, it's like theater and street, and then there's nothing in between. So I just felt like I had a song called Do It where I kind of experiment and I say things like in my verse 3, like in verse 2 I did something that was kind of groundbreaking at that point, where I was I was translating the bars. So I was saying something, verse 2 went like, hey, yo, this ain't no trash talk, bukan cakap kosong. I'm not being arrogant, I'm not being sombong. I just want to get that cut, kalau tidak potong. Now let's get this money sama-sama untung. Bawa satu bumbung, we under one roof, kalis peluru. Together we bulletproof, di setiap penjuru. In every single corner we own it. Kita punya nada means we own it. Rim berputar, that means that we rolling. Jangan main buah, no sets in the air, man, musuh apa guna. Bau wang, yeah, I love the smell of money, like I love my honeys. I hate interest rates, jadi ku harus ambil every single chance, setiap peluang mungkin. I want a pile of cash, satu bukit duit. So I gotta keep running, gotta do it. You know, so that was, 2009. So I was like, oh man, I think I got it. There's something here, you know, like that. That was like perfect balance between English and Malay, and I felt like it was kind of seamless, and I kind of liked that. So, yeah. So I wouldn't say I'm entirely unhappy with President, but I just felt like, there was a lot of pressure lah. First single, first album, and apart from one AIM, like I think I won Best English Album, but like I didn't, the Malay songs didn't really fare too well.
Yeah.
Okay lah.
But that was the sound that you that kind of mix of languages and stuff that you brought into 𝙁𝙁, and it ended up becoming very, very 𝙁𝙁.
Yep.
So this was the part that I was shocked to learn from your documentary, that 𝙁𝙁 was banned. I'm not sure that's right, from radios. I was really very confused about that.
I mean, Sona used the word ban, but I wouldn't say ban, but it wasn't picked up. So dulu, waktu tu, this is 10 years ago. 10 years ago, no, bukan 30 tahun lepas, 10 tahun lepas. Radio bahasa Inggeris main lagu bahasa Inggeris. Radio bahasa Malaysia nyanyi lagu, which is like, what? For real? Yes. They didn't know where to place us. And they were like, man, we don't know how to break this song in. We can't put it on heavy rotation. We can't. So we're going to try, but no guarantee. So what? I mean, I think Sona, when he said ban already, no, we weren't banned. There was some songs that were banned on RTM, that one for sure. RTM, I don't know, they still have this department where they just go around banning songs. for no reason. Then we'll
They're
get into
stricter
that.
with their...
No, they're not really strict. Like some of the band is like, bunyi gitar kurang memuaskan.
No, you're joking.
Sumpah.
What?
Yeah, betul. Nyanyian sumbang. Yeah.
so
If you, yes, ask every other group that you're gonna interview in the future, they'll give you like these reasons, like, but there's something else.
Wow.
So it wasn't picked up lah. Senang cakap. Like macam when we started giving out the singles, radio's like, oh man, I don't know if we can help you. But we decided to, do some guerrilla marketing lah. We printed some T-shirts, hit up some friends, Jajai gave me a bus. My friend Jajai, he owns this company called Hop On, Hop Off, and I was like, yo man, let me have your bus on a rapid, like big havoc, and this bus went around KL for 2 months, just like picking tourists up, so there was like a lot of, we did like murals, we created that excitement. When the song came out, the next day, I heard it on radio, and eventually the radio stations will play them. Yeah. But it's sad. Like, at one point in time, Malaysian music, to a certain degree, you had to appease, for a lot of artists, they had to appease to radio station bosses, and sometimes they would give their, hey, why don't you do this kind of song? And some artists would go and do. And like, I just felt like it's okay to not get radio. If it's not supposed to get on radio, it's okay. We need to try other ways of promoting it.
Mm-hmm.
So what we did was, with that album, we gave these songs to all the club DJs.
Mm-hmm.
And clubs weren't playing local hip hop. Prior to Havoc, name me one song that you hear in a club and, oh, that's a Malaysian rap song. Come on, I'll wait.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Havoc was one of the first, like, you hear Havoc in Bali, like in Jakarta, they were just dropping like Havoc, people going nuts, right? So that's also because we service these DJs. And I told Sona, I was like, I want to make this album, I want to get played at festivals. Like last Rolling Loud in Thailand, the DJ dropped by it in the middle of the whole set, like boom, by it, like smack at the main set, Rolling Loud. And that was what we went for. We wanted to come out with that sound because for the longest time I felt like Malaysian hip hop was compartmentalized. Like, it sounds like this, yeah. Meaning you cannot take it and slap it on a movie soundtrack for Hollywood, like it wouldn't feel. So we needed to kind of make these songs and trying to like break down all these barriers, like these unwritten laws of how a rapper needs to rap in Malay. Come on, there are no law, there are no rules.
Mm-hmm.
We just need to whack. And I feel like, sometimes I hear like these younger rappers today, and then I listen to their lines and I'm like, yeah, man, there's a little bit of me there.
Yeah.
And I'm happy. I'm really happy, to see that, because we were too macam control. Macam, like we were as if we were doing art but told to draw
In the box. Yeah.
Don't go out the line.
Mm-hmm.
This one we just campak the chat, like,
Yeah.
Sometimes you just need to, yeah.
In so many ways, what's happened now is that you kind of redrew that box bigger than what it was during your time.
And these new artists will continue doing that too. Like, you see artists like God, like his new song Gadisku, and I'm like, yo, God, what are you rapping about, man? And it's like, yeah, Joe, Joe, just having fun.
Yeah.
And I said, but I love it. I love it when you say, like, and he's got a song, Upper Wonderland, right? And he says, what does he say in Wonderland? Like, Wonderland, you rumah tenang, I nak. Like, bro, you calling her rumah tenang? Like, bro, it's so dope. It becomes art. You know, so it'll go full circle. Like if you allow, you know, you cannot. Macam bahasa ni bukan sesuatu yang, because you kena faham. Oi itu pun bahasa juga. Oi. Pasal dia komunikasi. Dia ada perbezaan di antara bahasa dan komunikasi. That's communicating, you know, like, hey, you know, like, this is just like, you know, cara-cara menulis surat formal, like, buat garisan, like, bro, a letter is a letter, bro. Just get to the damn point. I want to read the content of this letter. I don't care where the tarikh is, belah kiri ke, belah kanan ke, ada line ke, sign kanan ke, sign kiri, tak sign, chop. Hey, bro, end of the day, people are going to throw this letter away. But it's the message that needs to get across, right? Yeah.
I think for anyone that's at the front of something, the people that are drawing the box bigger and not the ones that are conforming, it is a very frustrating position to be in because like
they won't get you.
looking back, you feel like maybe you were a bit before your time.
Yeah, 100%.
Because you created the space, right?
Yeah.
How did you deal with that frustration? I mean, for me, I would have just like, after pushback and pushback and pushback, at some point I feel like I'd have thrown the towel in and been like, okay, I'm not doing this.
Yeah, but I like this quote, you know, like, who said it, Who wrote the 48 Laws of Power? Robert Greene. He said, don't complain and don't explain. Don't complain, don't explain. That was it for me. I'm like, hey, it's not my problem you don't get it, but you will get it. You know what I mean? And I don't have to explain. Yeah. For me, that, like, cause I'm happy that just you get it. I mean, I'm happy if you're the only one that gets it. You know, like if Sona gets it, like, oh, you know, like, it's okay. Like, we'll say like mad things, like, and people don't get it. Like, for instance, in 𝙁𝙊𝙇𝙊𝙀, like, if you say like, nak pimping, nak take away Ampang, that's in reference to Jalan Pimping in Ampang. In Ampang, there's Jalan Pimping. So, everybody from Ampang got it like, oh man, I used to see Joe on Jalan Pimping, you know? But everybody now is like, it's just it just went over their heads.
Yeah.
Right? Or like, yeah, you know? So I feel that's the beauty of hip hop and rap. It's like your favorite book. Sometimes you don't get it the first time, or your movie, like there's a reason you watch a play or a movie like 3-4 times and you get it, like, you know, this round you'll pick up certain things, that round. So I feel like that adds to, you know, or that contributes to the body of work being, you know, whether it's a timeless classic, you know, song, or it's just something that you get sick and tired of after 5 listens. And that's always the dilemma lah. Kan kita nak buat lagu yang hit, tapi at the same time, kerana lagu hit ni, you menyampah pula dengar. Like, yo, you know, if a certain song comes on, I'm like, man, if I hear this song one more time, I'm gonna get out of this car. Kan, ada juga lagu macam tu kan. So, yeah. Kerana orang tak faham. Macam lagu Brillian, you know, that day I was just, I will go through comments the first day. You know, like, I always tell my others, like, because the internet can be cruel, you know, and sometimes people just say things untuk buat you sakit hati or just to get attention or whatever, you know. So some people get affected, and I don't really get affected by comments. But the first day Brillian came out, like, I would say 95% people, you know, vibe with it. And there was this 5% like, apa benda ni? Aku tak faham. Okay. I'm not going to be mad that you tak faham, you know. But also, like, yeah lah, it's not everything is going to be for everyone. Lagu is like that. Yeah.
Can I ask a question that's kind of related to that? Do you think that fan bases have become a little bit more narcissistic because of social media. In the sense where, like back in the day, you release an album. There's no digital release. Your fans can't comment. They can at most come to your concert, and if they paid the money to come see you, they love you. So they're not going to say anything negative. Nowadays, as someone who has released music throughout time, even before social media was really a thing, has that changed in terms of like how much feedback you get that's a little bit against the grain like this? Because like as you said, not all art is created for everyone. If it's not for you, move on.
Which is why I'm kind of like okay with not having the most number of followers. You know, I'm okay. Like, you know, there are new artists that have 10 times more followers than me on social media. But I feel like quality over quantity lah. In my field at least, you know. Like if I were to manage an actress, I would be worried if kenapa orang lain lagi famous. You know, maybe that is a true measure of how famous or how good this person is doing. But yeah, definitely, I feel like fans. You know, you could spend 20 minutes watching like old Bob Marley videos and interviews, and next thing you know, you could sell yourself as a historian. And I'm a reggae historian. Hey, I know where he was born. I know where he recorded his first. You know, like you could fake it. You could like, I need to call my mom's, but actually you're Googling and Bob Marley Wikipedia. You know, so there is definitely that angle of like, oh, I'm a music snob, or I'm a connoisseur. But I feel anything in that direction is still good, because you're still trying to be the super fan. I'm trying to be like, hey, I know more than you, you know, which is fine. At least you still have to take, you know, to do things to equip yourself with a bit of information and knowledge. Where I think it's a bit isn't fair on the artist is when you can invade a person's space and say hurtful things.
Do you get any of that?
I'm not affected. I don't really get affected, but I've had really hurtful things said at me. Like you know, sometimes you know people just want to see whether they can affect you. But I see it happening to other artists a lot more. Like maybe an older, you know, person might not be, mungkin dia orang akan bahasa yang digunakan tu mungkin bagi awak okey, tapi untuk orang tua mungkin ni kasar tau. Cara percakapan awak ni dengan what makes you feel like you can, especially when it comes to things like religion or like, you know, kesalahan, and they can get at you and just like, kau ni, you menghukum. And of course the person, the artist might take it with a pinch of salt, but still you have affected this person's life on purpose, in dengan cara yang tak cantik lah. And bagi saya benda tu, kita ni dah jadi macam punching bag. Dengan benda tu bagi saya, you know, the good and the bad, and this is the ugly. And this is what comes hand in hand with social media. As much as, you know, that you can create a direct form of communication, direct line. You know, sebelum ni kita kena tour, kena buat meet the fan session, but now you can just go on IG Live and, you know, your fans can have a chance to listen to you. But I feel it also comes with that. And sometimes you can instigate like much more hatred towards a certain issue. You know, if the mob manages to get something and snowball effect the thing into like, the mob gets into a bigger mob, and then, you know, more things can happen. You know, so we've seen artists get cancelled. Like like that, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes it's just like a small group of people that, coupled with like media coverage, coupled with, and it becomes a big issue. And it's sad. It's sad, because there are bigger things to worry about, I feel. Like in the world and also in our country. Like there are many other things that that needs like many issues that can be highlighted, and we choose to cover nonsense sometimes.
Next one, next topic I kind of want to ask you about is 16 Baris.
Okay.
So this is like such a phenomenon.
It was. Yep.
It still is.
Alhamdulillah.
So I rasa apa yang sangat impressive pasal ni, and the reason that I don't know, it's like your sense of collaboration and uplifting the younger generation is something that we really don't see that much.
Okay.
In a more like a smaller market, I just thought it was like, when I saw it, this was just my first initial experience, is like, what an opportunity. I wish there was that kind of mentorship or path for me when I was starting out in acting, a completely different industry, for example.
Yeah.
How did this idea come to be?
Should I give the unedited version? Okay. Honestly, this idea initially. So if you look at the credits for season 1, I did it with my friend Eddie Lim. I call him the Chinese Rick Rubin. Because if you listen, if you know how Def Jam started. Def Jam was started by Russell Simmons and Rick Rubin. So Rick Rubin is a rocker, and then Russell Simmons is a rap guy, right?
Right.
So it's like me and Eddie.
Gotcha.
Me and Eddie friends. Eddie plays the harmonica, bro. Okay, so it's a very odd friendship. Like one Chinese boy from Keluar, full tattoo, plays a harmonica, and then
Perfect.
me. Budak Melayu, all hip hop. But we've been friends for quite a while. So when I opened my first barbershop, I told David and my partners, I was like, hey, what if tak ada orang datang kan? What if we need to promote this barbershop? So Eddie was like telling me like, yo, we should do a barbershop quartet kind of like performance in the shop. I'm like, okay, that sounds dope, but I don't really be doing no barbershop quartet thing. Fast forward a few months later, the shop opened and, we hit the ground running. Like, in fact, we didn't have enough barbers. We had to get more chairs, more barbers. There was always a line. So, the barbershop did
There
well.
was always a traffic jam
Yeah,
in that
traffic
one
jam in Subang,
SS15.
It was crazy because that was the first kind of like, dry barbershop, New York style, men's barbershop in Malaysia at that point. So I just like forgot about this idea. Later on, Eddie would go on to work with Rocket Fuel, and Rocket Fuel at that time, was headed by Moods. Hit me up and said, look, we want to do reality TV show based on your life. I was like, sure. I was like, what are we going to do? He said, we're just going to put 2 cameras and follow you around, and then we'll edit and we'll see what comes out of it. I said, all right, cool. So this camera was with me for a month, and then one day they finally called me and like, hey man, like we edited the first 2 episodes. Let's watch it. And I went to watch it, and I was like, bro, I'm looking at myself and I want to turn it off. Like, it's like, what is this? Macam pergi launch New Era, punya topi, lepas tu pergi, macam apa ni? Tak ada benda, macam like, bro, we need to be doing some crazy things like jumping off a plane, or like, we're not doing none of that. What's the point? We're like 15 years too late. This is like the Kardashian show without the Kardashians, bro. What are you talking about? Like, where the Kardashians at? Like, no. I said, we got to scrap this idea. It is terrible. Like, I'll be real. I'll be like, this is me. And like, it's whack, bro. It's so boring. Apa ni kan? And they're like, oh man, but yo, you can't pull out now. You can't do this to us. Like, we need content. We already have a budget for this. I'm like, so then I was like, oh man, do I share this idea with you guys? Because one thing about me, like, I love coming out with concepts, but sometimes I keep it so close to my chest. I have a specific idea of how I want it done. And, I have this big fear of people messing it up. like dropping the ball and just like not. But then I was like, all right, cool. I said, no need to sign NDAs. Let me just share this idea, like, boom. So I told him this is the idea I've always had that maybe, but now, I mean, again, I realized like over the years, everything happens for a reason. And I've learned to trust. Remember we were talking about like learning to trust people that are able, and it's like, I've known Moose long time. I know this team. They're all very talented people. I know Shimi, I know Eddie. I said, yo, let's just do this. So I was like, yo, this is my idea. Forget this Flizzow show. That's
What was it? Was that what it was called? Flizzow show?
No lah, belum ada nama pun. Macam I wanted it to be called the Joe Flizzow show or something like that. But to be fair, I didn't give them 100% also. I just left it to them. And, of course, if I had sat down with them and like, hey, why don't we do this? Why don't we prank this guy? Or why don't we just like dress like dinosaurs and run down Star Hill? I would have rather do things like that, But it was just like, okay, hari ni kita pergi, macam boring lah. And then on the other hand, you have like, all the other like personalities that were making a name for themselves on YouTube and all are like doing like the most, benda lagi gila lah kan. Cannot like like Mr. Beast and all these people like, bro, we're about 20 years late, bro. Nah. So then yeah. So I just shared my idea with them, and they were like, what do you mean? Like, I said, that's it. So yeah, I host. I introduce 3 MCs. Caesar will curate everything. You guys just need to show up, light the place up, make sure I get my, we brought in my sound engineer, Anthony, from Big A Production. So we really created like a live studio. So all those mics go directly into Logic Pro, and then we bring it back. We have all the raw vocals, and we can mix it down so everybody sounds good. That's it, and then I realized that, hey, to a certain extent, I can kind of like bring people together. So for season 1, I curated every episode. It's like I knew I wanted to start with Aman Ra. I called Aman Ra personally. I said, yo, I need you to do this for me, and I feel like it needs to be you because Aman has a commanding voice and it needs to be taken seriously from the get-go. I knew I wanted Balan on the show, and I knew I wanted Ellis on episode 1. I wanted, because at that point in time I just saw like the Tamil hip-hop scene sort of like moving upwards as well, but kind of away. So I just wanted to bring everybody together, so we're together, And on some episodes, I just make sure that, I heard this rapper, not happy with this rapper, I make sure they're on the same episode. or they're on the same, like, they're shooting on the same day. So I might not necessarily put them on the same episode, but they're on the same slot, because every day we shoot 3 slots. And normally rappers, we shoot 3 episodes a day.
Wow.
So we technically just spend 1 week shooting everything, So just by having, then I'll go there and I'm like, hey, you guys got beef? Come on, man, talk it out, man. Come on, battle, man. And everybody's like, man, nah, man, Joe. So for me, that was the ulterior motive. To kind of like give the scene at that point in time something to look forward to, something to, fight for, a place. And I made it accessible as well for people to send their audition tapes. So we found like Bunga through the episode 1. We found Hulera. We found Lil J. And Lil J's story is funny because he was just rapping in his car looking outside. And his best friend filmed it and uploaded it without his knowledge.
Wow.
And I just hit him up and said, yo, you interested? I said, yeah. And then he couldn't believe that I DM'd him. I got the team to DM him. And I said, bro, I'm going to put you on an episode with Sona 1 and Radio 3000. These are like really good MCs, you know. It's sink or swim for you, because I can only bring you, you know, to the starting line. I can't take you to the finish line, you know what I mean? And yeah, he did well. So, I mean, I really feel good doing Numbers Brother. It's like me and Caesar have a lot of fun. And it's just one way of me bridging the gap with the new generation of artists. You know, like we brought out 𝘾𝙍𝙄𝙎 early in their career. They only had one single at that point in time, Sa Satu Satu, and they had like maybe 30,000 views. When I hit Tuju up, and I flew 5 of them out. And I didn't know there were 7 people in the group, so I had to bring the rest season 2. I was like, oh man, minta maaf. You know, and then, yeah. And to see some of them just go on to become like superstars.
Yeah.
I mean, it's dope, you know. Like, I see MK and I see Noki, and like they're doing big things, you know, so I'm really happy for them. Yeah.
You said something yang mungkin I tak cukup faham that I wanted to ask you about. You said that you didn't want to manage some of the incredible
Oh,
talent.
no. We memang, I didn't want to have, see, when normally competitions like Academy Fantasia and all these big talent competitions, normally the broadcaster will have first right of refusal to sign the artist. Meaning every AF artist would have signed with Maestro or Astro.
Yeah.
Whether or not you win,
Yeah.
I sign all.
Yeah.
Okay, so if one season there's 12, right? How many episodes of AF ran? 8?
Many.
Like, let's say 8 times 12. What's that? 96?
96.
How are you gonna manage 96 lives? Do you like, if I look at the label manager in the eye and said, do you think you really gave 100% in trying to manage 96 people? How many of these 96 really went on to build a career? Maybe 9 out of, then what happened to 85? What happened to 87 other artists? Like, these are people's lives, bro. You feel me? Like, so I wouldn't do that, you know, even if I had the chance, because it's not easy managing people, managing expectations, and ni bukan macam kerja engineering ke, kerja hotel ke. These are you're managing people's dreams, bro. This is something very sacred, you know? Your dreams, bro. If I can't be the guy that be like, this guy shattered my dreams, I cannot live myself lah. Kan? I boleh tolong. I boleh cuba sedaya upaya untuk tolong, tapi for somebody to just turn around one day and be like, man, I had dreams. Then I came to KL and met this guy, and he ruined my dreams.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to be that person,
Yeah.
you know? So that's number 1. Number 2, I needed to show like pure intention lah. You know, I had to have, saya kena macam buat benda ni, dan saya kena tunjukkan yang saya memang sejujur-jujurnya, seikhlas-ikhlasnya buat benda ni untuk artis-artis ni dengan untuk scene. Right? Yeah. So if I'm like, everybody sign with me, then it's already like you have ada udang di sebalik batu. So saya tak nak benda itu macam tu, dan rezeki masing-masing. You know, kebanyakannya lepas tu sign dengan label-label lain, sign dengan management lain, atau buat management sendiri, dan semua orang ada perjalanan, dan semua orang masih selesa untuk DM me. You know, I follow like all of them, if not most of them. You know, ada mungkin yang terlepas pandang, yang tak sempat tukar IG ke apa, tapi saya rasa saya follow kebanyakan daripada mereka, dan mereka semua masih ada direct line of communication to me. I think I've helped them, you know, whenever they need help, and saya rasa lebih selesa macam tu lah. Right.
Interesting
Yeah.
answer.
Yeah.
It's not the typical like, how do I benefit the most from this kind of
Yeah.
perspective that a lot of competitions kind of have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I feel it. You need to be fair, lah, kan, to people. Yeah.
So what's next for 16 Baris?
Season 4 coming up.
Coming.
Yeah.
Nice.
Season 4 coming. I think we're going to announce after Raya. And of course, COVID kind of like, dampen our
Performances.
the momentum tu ada
Yeah.
terjejas sikit. Tapi, last season we came strong with season 3. We had some really good artists. I feel there's so many more acts out there. Imagine, 3 seasons, we've already worked with 135 rappers.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so many careers launched.
Yeah,
through
so
16
many
Baris.
careers launched, and some of them, Bunga open for Coldplay. That's
Yeah.
crazy. I remember when I DM'd her and I saw her rap, and I was like, we need to get you on the show. So from that to Bukit Jalil, 88,000 people. So, and look, all that was done by her team. You get what I mean? Like, you can still fly and flourish and without me having to manage you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can still carve your own path in this world.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And that makes it, for me, there's a different level of satisfaction when that happens. Now, of course, if I manage her and that happened, I'll be happy too. But to see that, just happen on its own, like, wow. Respect, love. Right? Yeah. Yeah.
It's a very selfless perspective.
I mean, I think, to a certain degree, maybe people can also accuse me of being selfish. Like, oh man, you wanna host this show, you wanna helm this show. And I feel like, if possible, like, I wish I could say that maybe season 5, season 7, I'm no longer hosting, I'm sure 16 Baris will be okay in the hands of people like Sona or, anybody else. But at this point in time, I just feel like I have that opportunity to have some sort of FaceTimes, Macam kadang-kadang bila 16 Baris ni, banyak artis nervous. So we've devised a system where, so I don't direct anymore, 16 Baris. I've never directed since season 1 sampai season 3. So season 3, we got Sharin Bahar to direct. And I told Bobby, I call him Bobby, I said, Bobby, kita kena main good cop, bad cop. Like certain days, you got to put on the good cop, because like, for me, sometimes artists are so nervous and we're doing like 10 takes, 20 takes. And I'm like, bro, this is 16 bars. Like, this is what you do. But then Bobby tells me like, bro, but you have to understand, they've never met you and they're nervous. I said, okay. So certain artists, we take different types of approaches. Some of them, if after 3 takes and we're not going anywhere, I'll just tell everybody like, okay, everybody come. Let's go chill outside. Let's go listen to some music in the car. Hey, let's talk. Hey, where you from, bro? I get to know a bit, and then, or I give them like a little Coach Carter pep talk, give them like semangat sikit, and bring them into a huddle. And I feel like it's like these moments that, although they might be short, 5-10 minutes of interaction, can go a long way in their careers. Like, because I've had those kind of moments with people like Amy Search, people like Baroslan Aziz, who've said, maybe things that maybe they also forget the next day. But for me, it will stick in my head for the rest of my life. Like, just like conduct, I remember, some of them, like, sometimes I'll be awkward at an event and I don't know where to stand, and they'll be like, yo, please just come chill with me. Like, hey, lepas ni. Amy used to do that a lot, about Amy Search, and until today, he's like, like a big brother that, I would call and from time to time ask for advice and how, he handles things. But yeah lah, I just felt like 16 Baris just brings everybody together. And like the amount of work Caesar does behind the scene, trying to find the right beats for all the producers, for all the rappers. With 16 Baris season 3, we added this new thing where every other episode we feature a song from a local producer. So I mean, sometimes I manage to say it brief, in passing, dekat masa kita announce all the rappers. By the way, the song was by this producer. So there's the other element now that we've added into it. Like, you could send your beats, and we'll play your beats on the show. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yes.
So is Snoop Dogg trying to make a USA 16 Baris?
I mean, he
What's
said
the
it.
tea?
No, he said it like there was, I think early last year, I had a Zoom call with him. And I was just sharing with him like, what I was working on, and then I showed him 16 Baris. And then after that, apparently his assistant said like he just kept watching episode after episode. Next thing you know, he just uploaded a screenshot like, oh, really dope show with showcasing unsigned talents. He told me straight up like, I need to do this in America. I told him like, hey, if you need help, which you don't, but you could get my help. I'll be more than happy to fly out there and help you with that. But yeah, Snoop.
That would be awesome.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be
but
really,
he did
really
like,
awesome.
I mean, from my conversations with him, like, one thing he did say to me was like, yo, Joe, like, how you've put together, this whole Asian, Def Jam Southeast Asia, and how you bringing people together is like something really commendable. And I was like, that made my day. Because I've been a fan of Snoop. Like, I was Snoop's biggest fan, growing up. Like, and to finally get to work with him, and for him to like just that post saying that, hey man, good job, guys. From someone like Snoop is all the recognition I need, I'm okay with 16 Baris not having, I mean, I wish we could do more numbers, but sometimes I'm like, it's okay. But getting that from Snoop, sort of like getting his seal of approval means a lot, Even Lupe Fiasco, he was in town, and I think he went on Hits FM, and they asked him about 16 Baris, and he said, yeah, I know all about 16 Baris. I watched all the episodes, and I'm trying to get on. I swear to God. Like, Snoop, you could pull it up. Like, you could Google that. Lupe Fiasco, he was trying to get on 16 Baris.
Season 4?
No, this was during season 1. But when he came back, we were in between seasons. Yeah, so he spent some time in Malaysia. And, there's a crazy story about Lupe Fiasco, right? Like, Lupe is now, I would consider him a friend. Like, he's somebody I could hit up on text and he'll reply, Like, if I go to New York, I'll tell him like, yo, I'm coming to your concert. Like, he makes sure the tickets are there, then he makes sure that he'll see me after the concert and such. But how I met Lupe is so funny. One day I get Yanis, my manager at that time. Yanis now is head of VP for Def Jam Southeast Asia, so she manages all the other artists. But at this point in time, she was managing me. And I said, yo, Lupe wants to meet you. Lupe Fiasco is coming to KL. He's got some business, and he wants to meet you. I said, okay, how did you get a call? So Yanis tells me, like, I got this email from Bonnie Chan. So Bonnie Chan is Lupe's business partner from Hong Kong. She owns Complex China. They just did ComplexCon. Anyway, sidebar. So I was like, okay, where do we meet? So I decided to ask them to meet us at Mama's Son in KLCC because I wanted, normally first time people visiting KL, let's just get this KLCC picture out of the way and just find a good restaurant there. Fine. So I finally so I go, so it's me, Yanis, Lupe, and his friend or manager. And I asked him, like, yo, Lupe, like, what made you email me? And he said this. It's like, yo, I found out you the man out here, right? I was like, nah, I'm just checking in. That's the hip hop way, right? And I was like, yeah, that is the hip hop way. Because if I'm going to Japan, I know people in Tokyo, but let's say from Tokyo I'm going to Osaka, I'm gonna ask my Tokyo friends, like, yo, anybody I gotta check in with, like any rapper I can check in with, and they'll probably hit me up with a number. And I was like, yeah, I'm just checking in. I'm just doing the hip hop thing, Fliz. I'm checking in with you. And I was like, yo, that's crazy. So the next couple of days, I ended up just taking him everywhere he wanted to go. So he was like, he made me go to Batu Caves. And I was like, bro. And he found out that I'd never been up the stairs.
You've never been up the stairs?
The first time, yeah. I've been with Lupe, finally.
You're joking.
I always drop them off. I'm like, bro, I'll wait for you here.
This is some Subang Jaya behavior lah.
So Lupe was like, bro, you ain't never been up these stairs? Come on, we going. So the first time I went up Batu Caves was with Lupe Fiasco, because he found out I've never been up the stairs. And the next 3 days, I was just taking him to go eat. Dia nak makan.
Kat mana?
Request yang paling kelakar, dia nak pergi A&W.
No,
So
stop.
Kenapa A&W? Yo, man, I heard the chicken's banging. Like, okay, cool, fine.
Who is he hearing all this information from?
I don't know.
Okay, cool.
But long story short, after the second day, he loved Malaysia so much, he was like, yo, I think I want to move here. So now we're going house hunting.
No, stop it.
Yo, and the first house that I take him to is like the former American ambassador to Malaysia, like who was renting my friend's family house. A big house with a big pool. And I was like, yeah, it's a bit too big. And then the second place, because what happened was he had started doing, he had gone into TV production, and he had a show with AXN, which was a martial arts show. They were traveling Asia. So he was thinking either Hong Kong or Malaysia. He eventually decided to go with Hong Kong lah. And second house I brought him was like Bangsa, one of those townhouses. Mm-hmm. Like Ara, you know Ara Bangsa?
Yeah.
It's like the guy, Balinese vibe. And he was like, it's so funny, man. But yeah, in the end, it tak jadi. Now he's teaching. He's a lecturer at MIT. Lupe Fiasco. There is a course on hip hop. MIT is the first Ivy League university.
MIT?
Yeah. Yeah, pull it up. He's a lecturer at MIT. He's a professor at MIT. Yo, so...
That's awesome, but like MIT is tech, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I was
yes.
supposed to visit him. Like, yeah. But when I met him last in New York, I think, our schedule just didn't work out. Like, so yeah, Lupe is a lecturer at MIT.
I mean,
you guys do the pull-up thing when I say something and suddenly the thing comes out here? Like,
yeah,
pull up.
We might actually.
Pull up.
Pull it up.
Yeah.
That's some crazy...
Yeah.
I'm just happy you did Batu Caves.
Yeah.
Because that was a long time coming.
But Batu Caves is, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's not, like, once you've gone...
No, I don't know why I've never been. It's like, it's one of those things where macam, lalu.
And you'll do it at some point, and the point never comes.
And then, tak pernah buat sebenarnya. Yeah. Shout out to Lupe Fiasco, man.
Faham? Wow,
Okay.
Damn. Okay, next thing I wanted to ask you about is AJL.
Wow.
So I feel obligated to ask this question because as somebody who has won at AJL more than once.
No, once.
You came second the second time.
Second, nobody remembers number 2.
I think for the hip hop industry, nobody's gonna forget this because it was like very.
So the thing is, like, the original plan was to win again and then kind of like come out with this statement. So I actually wanted to say it that night. So when I said AJL The first time I said it was after I won for Apa Khabar with Sona. I said it at the press conference. I didn't say that I don't believe in this competition, but I did say that choosing a winner for AJL is sort of like going to a museum, looking at paintings, and saying that this is the best painting out of all, which is impossible. You know, art from different eras, different mediums, different styles. How are you gonna say outright that this is better than everything else? Yeah. I just feel like, okay lah, I don't need to cover line lah. I just feel like the competition it creates, the competition creates a divide rather than togetherness. I feel. You have to understand, anugerah juara lagu is untuk penulis lagu sebenarnya. But 80% of the time, the focus is on the artist. Of course, ada artis yang juga penulis lagu tu. Tapi initially, this is anugerah juara lagu. The composers are the ones that, kita nak memartabatkan penulis-penulis lagu ni. And I just feel like you cannot have our best seniman negara kita yang kita dah letak di level macam biduanita atau biduan, compete. And like, bro, some of these artists are like, they are stars, they are divas, they are legends in their own right. And for them to just go to an event and prepare and lose, who decides? Like, let's be real, like that's another conversation I don't want to get into. Because like,
I understand.
yeah, so for me I feel, okay, let me rephrase that lah. Tidak relevan. Saya rasa tak relevan dari segi macam it shouldn't be the gold standard. Macam inilah dia, I can retire after this. No. But that is how it's shaping our industry. Jadi bila itu je dia punya compass, macam, man, if I do this, that's it, I'm done. No, bro. Ada je ramai artis yang menang dan lepas tu
tak ke mana pun.
plateau ataupun that's it, that was it. Ada je yang macam tak menang dan it's okay. Right? I don't think Sheila Majid has ever won. Has she ever won?
We'll have to
Somebody
do
pull it
research
up.
on that. Yeah.
But it doesn't matter because in my books, she is number one. Nobody come close to Sheila. Nobody, like in my book, like she my favorite. Like, no. And what? She gonna sing everywhere in the world.
Yeah.
Pan, like all the best musicians playing for her. She's a class. She's cut from a different cloth. Doesn't take anything away from her. You get me? When we entered first time AJL, like for the longest time we memang tak bukan sesuatu yang kita nak buat. Tetapi pada waktu itu, bila kita tercalon untuk masuk ke peringkat akhir dan saya pergi briefing. Saya ingat lagi saya pergi briefing dengan Sona dekat Media Prima dan they stated the rules of the competition. Sebenarnya rules competition ni, again, ni lagu Composers Awards. So, you have to score your own music. Technically, when you hand in your score, if you scored it wrongly, they have to play wrongly tau. So, maknanya katakan note to C tapi you tertulis D kan. Technically, because it's a Faham tak? Tapi that never happens lah. That one day we'll fix it and whatever. But then they told us like, oh, you're going to be performing with a 80-piece orchestra. And I was like, Datuk Ramli MS is going to be the MD. And you can add 1 minute of new composition. So, and then I asked this question. I was like, can I compose this new with musicians from abroad? Then he said, yeah. So I did what no artist had ever done. I worked with my boy, shout outs to Q Sound, Marcus. Marcus helped me score it. Marcus is, he's been with Philharmonic Orchestra for a long time. And he's practically Malaysian. He's been in the country, 12, 14 years. My boy, Jupiter, my favorite, drummer, Fat Boy Tony Parker. And, the three of us we went to work. So, if you listen to AJL, yang kita menang, no, the intro is like 1 minute. It's like, the way we wrote it, it's like, we imagine we were at the Oscars. It's like, like we fully utilized that orchestra. And, that was what we wanted. We just wanted to impress we just wanted to show the world that, hey man, we came from 2 turntables and a mic, and now you're giving me 88-piece orchestra. When I got there on the day of the show, the musicians were showing me love. Like the guitarist, yo man, hey, everybody was like, yo, every musician from the orchestra told me oh man, we loved your composition. We loved your score. It's our favorite score to play. We really hope you win tonight. And I was like, oh, bro, that's all the validation I need, And the decision to wear tuxedos, that was something I decided. See, so a lot of brands were calling Giannis, and they were like, hey, Giannis was like, oh, they all want to dress you. Nah, I said, I think we need to go with the local. So I called my brother Born Zainal. I was like, yo, we need 2 tuxedos. And Giannis was like, why do you want to wear tuxedos? It's so boring. I said, no. Because when we win, they won't question us. I don't want to be in baggy jeans and Air Force Ones and a white t-shirt. I want to look like Frank Sinatra coming down those steps. Because this is the respect they need to give hip-hop. I really did it for hip-hop, So, but
Cool.
back to my statement of AJL being irrelevant. Actually, I'm a bit, I know it might sound like sombong. It might sound but I really feel hey, that's just how I feel, I'm not gonna say that, hey, you guys are competing, you guys don't know what you're doing, but I don't think it's for me anymore, because I just feel the best of the best shouldn't be competing anymore. We should be doing bigger things, instead of and it's impossible to judge. How are you gonna judge?
It's really apples and
Actually, the
oranges.
juara lagu for me should be, if you want to make it clear cut, hey, the song that did the most sales. Numbers don't lie. Most views, most streams, most numbers, most hits. That if you have the most hits, that's higher chance that Malaysia love this song the most. But sadly, it doesn't work like that. Sadly, there is some sort of
Performance aspect that they need as well.
actually, I think the performance aspect is just the last 20%. 80% points were given before the show.
Oh.
Yeah, I think so, yeah. Basically, if you show up and you don't mess it up, if you're leading at the start before you're going to win. So,
That's that.
but I feel sometimes I forget that, and I'm kind of known in this industry, so sometimes I'll speak to a reporter, then I'll go back, and the next thing you know, Joe Flizzow, AJL tidak relevant. And I'm like, oh man, why did I say that? You
Yeah.
know, but again, I also don't like to. Could they ask me how come, are you gonna compete in the future? I don't think so. And just for the record, I think like something went down that was kind of suspicious with my year. Like, homie Sunlee came out explaining about the 2 points. Suddenly homie texting
This was
my
the most recent
moms.
one, or?
The one that we got second.
Yeah.
Like they went out of their way to explain that we lost by 2 points. You know what I mean? Like, you're doing too much now.
Yeah.
And then, my mom got a call from like some of the judges like, yo, what are you doing? You don't need to explain. If I lost, I lost.
Yeah.
But when you're trying to hit my mom up to explain why I lost, now there's something fishy there. So
It's like an overcompensation almost.
I don't know. You get what I mean? I don't know. All I know is Siti said I did the best. Siti was like, saya suka for someone. Like, yeah. So, yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
Moving on to another performance. And this one is like, this was so good. July last year, or was it June
Right.
last year? Johan, this is Johan live in KL.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how was that? What was it like
That
putting
was,
this together?
I mean, I think that was the first of many to come, inshallah. But it was definitely the first time I performed with a full band with an orchestra section, and I did 36 songs. So I did my total runtime was 2 hours 15 minutes. So macam bagi saya preparation untuk konsert tu agak berbeza lah. Di mana saya kena make sure stamina saya ada, saya punya training pun ada, melibatkan I did a lot of high intensity like training so that I don't run out of breath, and it's going to be followed up with a series of other This Is Johan shows starting in July in Singapore. So the plan is to release the album in June. And July I do my Singapore show, and then we fill it up with more dates, Yeah.
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 Have you started preparing for Singapore already?
Yes. Yes and no. Yes.
I mean, you have some time, like from the
Yeah,
date of us
we
shooting this
still have
episode.
time, but I've been watching a lot of shows as well. I've been trying to catch concerts overseas just to see how we can, do things differently. Just I was at a 50 Cent concert in Bangkok, and it was really one of the best like rap concerts I've been to in a long time. Like, just how they use the stage, how the bands. Sometimes you can see the band, sometimes the band goes away. It's just a DJ. I was at Euwyn's concert in KL recently, last year, and I learned a lot from that too, just from a production point of view. I feel like, of course, we all know Euwyn as a dope, singer, songwriter, but she's actually a really, really talented, like, engineer as well. I think the way she just layers her sounds and she just sequences all the music is like, wow, one of world class. Huh? Like, that show really reminded us that Euwyn is a world-class artist and performer. And, yeah, she's a queen. I gotta give her that. Yeah. Sidebar, shout-outs to Euwyn, but, like...
She's incredible.
So, I'm just trying to, like, zero in on, the look and feel. I feel like, musically... The show we did in July was great. Was it July?
Yes, last year.
Yes, last year. Yeah. I just see how we can improve, lah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's dope.
I think it's going to be really exciting. But
Yeah.
speaking of This Is Johan, the documentary where I learned so much about you, and I stress, and it's not because you're here. I think more people need to watch this. I think everyone who's watching this needs to go and watch that next.
Please.
It's on View, by
it's
the
on
way.
View. Yeah, please watch it. I think if you don't have a View account, you can still watch it, but you'll have to endure like some advertisements. And yang bestnya advertisement tu pun I yang jadi advertisement kan.
Oh, cantik.
Sampai orang pun confused. Huh? Iklan pun dia juga. Aduh.
I didn't see the iklan, so I have no
Because you have a
context
view
for this.
account. Yeah. But my mom was like, yo, how come that's the ad, ma? But yeah, I mean, a lot of I think we worked really hard on this documentary. A big shout outs to Barney, who directed the whole thing, and his team from Mojo Films. Like, they went all the way to Thailand to interview some of my friends. They went to interview my friends in Singapore, and
Oh, guys, there
Yeah.
are so many people in
Yeah.
this documentary. It's
Yeah.
like people from your childhood.
yep, my childhood friends.
Got YB Hannah, you're making an appearance. I'm
Hannah,
like,
you're
oh.
always pretty
Yeah.
prominent in the first in episode 1.
And right at the end of episode 2 as well, she comes
yeah,
back.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
You got your
and
family.
yeah, it's and they really surprised me with the people who they interviewed. Like I did provide them with the list, but I think after the first couple of months of shooting, Barney kind of like saw, the pathway,
He wanted
because
to
it's
do
not
it.
easy trying to tell,
Yeah.
story 25 years in 2.5 hours or 2 hours, right? So we really had to, some of my friends that called me and said, I love your video. Then I realized, oh man, I could have interviewed you too, but I felt it was just nice, I felt we managed to. And I think the important thing is kita nak tunjukkan bahawa bukannya sometimes memang bagus untuk kita meraihkan kemenangan atau meraihkan kejayaan. Tapi juga penting untuk kita mengambil iktibar daripada saat-saat kita tewas atau saat-saat kita kecundang. Dan penting untuk kita untuk ada sikap tidak mau mengalah. Hence the Sampai jadi hashtag, So for me, I really hope that, number one, this documentary tells, you get to know a bit more about me and how I started and what, drives me and what motivates me to keep on doing or pursuing like music and, trying to build this ecosystem, if you may, or in this industry. But also I feel like a lot of Too Fat fans mungkin setengah perkara mungkin boleh terjawab yang selama ni mungkin left hanging. Tapi yang paling penting saya harap the documentary gives people motivation, to just pursue your dreams. Whether biarpun awak berlakon atau ahli perniagaan atau olahragawan atau artis, like it's important to have dreams. I really believe so, because dreams give you hope, and hope makes the world a better place, right? Yeah.
If I can say anything, I think it really inspired me in the sense of like, sometimes when you're trying to build something for yourself in your own career,
Yep.
you feel really alone in your challenges, and you feel like, oh, damn, it's so hard. Like maybe this is, I'm doing the wrong thing. This is like a sign, right?
Yeah.
And when I watched your documentary, the thing that kind of struck me was your like, this spirit of like, I'm not going to fall victim to this like situation that's out of my control. I'm going to keep doing it.
Of course.
And it made me feel very inspired in a sense, like it's like evidence that it's possible.
Yeah.
Even though we do completely different things, but
Also,
that's how I felt.
And also without using the word at all in the documentary, to a certain degree, there's some level of bullying as well. When they see something, people see something they don't like, they might want to bully you out of it, like bully their way through it, And we had to stand up to a lot of these bullies, And sometimes, sadly, we still see it also, whether it's in the form of favoritism or whether it's in the form of just, trying to feed to, other people's ulterior motives ke apa ke kan. Kadang-kadang kita dapat lihat yang macam bukan jalan yang sama, tapi artis berbeza, tapi cabaran dia lain. Meaning, kenapa kau kena bagi orang ni hidup susah tapi orang ni, because you tick the boxes for what works for me. Can I always believe like lagi pelik atau lagi unik, lagi pelik atau seseorang tu mungkin bererti dia lebih unik dan dia ada sesuatu yang lain, kan? Sekarang ni ramai orang, I'm not talking about industry, I'm just talking about people as a whole. A lot of people feel that they need to be like everyone else.
Conform.
You're not conforming macam But when we started, we wanted to stand out. It was so different, like now everybody wants the same thing. Like yesterday, Omega released another watch with Swatch. Everybody wants that watch. You know what I mean? The minute Yeezys come out, everybody wants your Yeezy. What's going to happen? Everybody rocks up to the concert looking the same. You see at Sneakerla, I saw at Sneakerla a group of 13 friends wearing the same shoes, New Balance. Everybody wearing the same. I mean, no disrespect to these brands, but you would never see that happen with my crew back in the day. You'll see 13 different pairs of shoes, not 13 same shoes. And same jeans, and same t-shirt, and same like Balenciaga, like bum bag. Like, come on, fam. Like, it's worrying. Like, so for me, I was like, yeah, that's fine. But I'm trying to spot the next guy that's like, I'm rocking pink today because all you guys looking whack in black and gray. You know what I mean? So I think it's important to always be on the lookout for that kid rocking all pink, when the whole the room is just grayscale, okay? And then helping that kid find his footing in the industry, and because there's something there, off the bat, and sometimes you see it with. Right now, like where I'm at with Def Jam, it took me a while to like kind of adapt to this more corporate role. Now we're on this side of the fence. Before this, I was with my own label. Now I kind of like took a job as MD of a regional label. We have like offices in 6 countries. We have close to 40 artists across 6 different territories. We have stars in Vietnam and Philippines and Indonesia. And so like the first couple of years, I was like, okay. Now I'm taking I was a bit more distant, I thought that I want to give artists a chance to just, create their own path. But now I realize that, look, I can help. I can be very much part of that process. So I'm spending a lot of time in the studio, writing with artists. Like I've been doing a lot of work with Ismail Zani, 𝘾𝙍𝙗𝙗. And I just feel like, yes, of course, we have, the tools to help these artists become, like stars, become really good at what they do. But one thing I realized, right, for a lot of them, they are born stars, like there's something different about these artists. Like Ismail Zani, from like, even before I signed him, I was like, yo, this kid is a star. So I feel like it's important that he doesn't make the mistakes I had to make, back in the day, and yeah, I got a lot of got big hopes for the Def Jam artists across the region. Yeah, I hope we can take this to the next level.
You have so much on your plate right now. I don't know how you do it. You also just released Brillian.
Oh yeah.
How do you find the time?
Brillian, I don't know, man. I feel like when you're doing things like you really love doing, like it doesn't feel like work.
Yeah. True.
Yeah. And also, I sometimes I feel like I'm not doing enough. I look at, other people like, wow, I wish I could have that kind of like drive, for, Sometimes I feel like I don't get enough rest as well. Like I guess that's just that balance lah.
For the record, Brillian is not just a single; it's also a brand.
Yeah.
Where is this
It
brand
so
going? 'Cause
happened-
can we grab it actually from outside so we can?
Well, okay. Brillian. It's funny. I can't remember whether the song came first or the idea for the product came first. But it might have been at the same time,
Alamak.
Yeah.
This is Brilliant. So I'm gonna
Right.
put this over here and I'm gonna let you take the lead on this.
So this is tentang baju Melayu untuk baju cekak musang. Right? So you can see that. Yeah.
The way this was launched, let me tell you. So this happened at Zalaraya.
Yeah.
And I was sitting like 2 seats down from you.
Right.
And then I turn and you're not there. So then I look at Nini, I'm like, performance. And she's like, sabar dulu. Wait and see. And then you came on, I was like, this is genius.
Yeah, and then
the
we launched
timing, immaculate.
We launched the video, and then we left the diamond on the chair, and I'm glad you got it. Oh yeah, this was for you. So this is, we also make butang untuk baju Melayu, Johor, 𝙁𝙊𝙇𝙊𝙀. So this was my present
That's
for you.
amazing. Thank you so much.
And,
Yeah, just in time for Raya
maybe
as
we can
well.
give these away if you want.
Actually, let's.
Yeah.
We'll do like a social media giveaway.
Yeah.
That would be
Please,
dope.
Yep.
So untuk korang yang tengah tengok episode ni, if you'd like to be eligible to take home one of these in a giveaway, we'll figure out the mechanics
Right.
and you
And
guys can find out on
cool.
social media. But
I'll tell you the story about how this came about.
yeah.
This idea. There was one year where I went home on first day of Raya. I drove back to my mom's house and I had like the best breakfast in the world. I had some lodeh, lontong, and then I was just like, before, like at about 11 o'clock, 90% of people were going to crash and take the best nap in the world, right? So I was like on my phone. And before that, I had been to an event, Buka Puasa event, and I just saw some people I know that were rocking sneakers with their baju Melayu.
I saw your video on this.
Yeah.
You were like,
So I
yeah.
said something like, maybe penggunaan bahasa saya pun agak kasar lah. I said this in a joking manner. I said it like I was really joking, but I was serious too, because I was like, kalau pakai baju Melayu, kalau dah tua, pakailah kasut elok-elok, kan? Janganlah pakai sneakers. And I said this, I said it with a laugh tau. I said it, kalau lu pakai sneakers dengan baju Melayu, gua ban lu. Then I fell asleep. I woke up like 3 o'clock, like passed out, And I saw my phone. I had like 300 to 500 DMs. Like, with location. Some of them tagged me. Dekat gambar depan rumah kampung. Gambar dengan kasut, sneakers, dengan location. Kata nak ban gua, datang lah sini. Yo, for the first time in my life, there was a mob coming for me. And they were mad. So saya pun, it didn't occur to me like, nombor satu, I'm a sneaker enthusiast as well. So a lot of my fans are sneakerheads. So for them to hear this coming from me, it's like, how can you say that? You are we look up to you as a sneaker collector. So it's like, you're a traitor, and also, and my mom was like, itulah Johan, you shouldn't say it like that, because like, some people, they kumpul duit, ni lah kasut raya aku, and then only for Joe Flizzow to bust your bubble. But I stood my ground, and I was like, nah man, it's so ironic. Saya rasa memang sangat ironic yang seorang rapper tahun 2023, was it last year or the year before, is suddenly like a custodian of culture, of tradition. I feel like I'm okay with it, but no one else is weighing in. Like, hey, where are all our museum directors or like, chairman of Persatuan kebudayaan ke, kenapa I'm battling these questions on all on my own? So actually, the first 2 days, I was kind of sad on that day. I was like, man, I was sad because I felt like I let down my fans. You know, I felt like I said something not nice. You know, but it was misconstrued, right? So then I was thinking to myself, okay, let's buat baju Melayu Johor. Because kalau you tengok baju Melayu Johor, Teluk Belanga, dia dekat sini, tempat kita letak butang tu nama dia tulang belut. It's hand stitched. And a lot of factories cannot make because you need to hand stitch. Hence why you tengok banyak baju Melayu Johor, dia punya button modified ke tepi lah. Those are not the traditional, not the real ways of making a Teluk Belanga lah. Right? No disrespect, but I'm just saying the truth. And so then I was like, but then it's quite saturated, you know, and it's also like a lot of cost, a lot of stock, a lot of space, you know, to make and produce and sell baju Melayu. Then I was just looking at all these baju Melayu, like, hey man, maybe I make butang. You know, so I found I have a friend in form of, he's a very talented jeweler. And I just told him like, hey, I know you make diamonds and, you know, lab diamonds and expensive stone, but I want to make something affordable for my fans, you know, but I don't want to compensate, you know. Kita masih nak benda tu elok dan cantik lah. So yeah, he came out with some prototypes and boom. 179 Zalora, get your bling.
There you go.
Boom, boom.
Sempat.
But yang penting, kenapa saya cakap benda tu is kerana bagi saya selalu I don't like to take losses like in that sense. You know, I think like it's either you win or you learn.
Yeah.
You know, and that year I learned that, hey man, okay, tradisi penting, bagi saya penting, dan bagi saya, you know, like it wasn't right of me to just like go in there and just say like, you know, use those kind of words to describe pemakaian seseorang. So ni mungkin saya punya, this is the olive branch that I want to extend to the people that were hurt by my words.
No, like, I think it's funny because like maybe because you are you, sometimes the perspective tu boleh hilang sikit. Like for the people who are outside and who are not you, looking at you, I think there's this like, even for me, Joe, I was like, that's Joe Flizzow.
No, okay.
No, but that is the perception.
Right.
And that's been the perception for me as well.
Okay.
So I just find it so funny that from your perspective, you look at yourself as such a normal individual.
Yeah,
and you just
I
like
forget.
posting your opinion and then
sometimes my
you forget you're
cousins tell me like, hey man, what the hell you doing, man? You famous. Like, I forget. Like sometimes I joke and I'll be like, I like to joke with waiters. I like to like, you know, and then they're like, yo. Yeah. It's funny.
But in so many ways, maybe that's also the
you know
secret
what?
of your
Hey,
success.
can I have my phone? I want to show you something.
Okay.
This one, you know, I don't know why this came up, but check this out. So, my friend was in Johor, too.
Yeah.
At this hotel, DoubleTree. Nampak waiter ni. Waiter tu punya name tag. Tulis Joe Flizzow.
Oh, no, there's no way.
Nama dia tulis Joe Flizzow. So my friend was like, hey, come here, you think you're funny, is it? Like, why do you have Joe Flizzow on your name tag? You check this out. You zoom in.
Stop, there is no way. His name is Joe Flizzow.
Yeah.
Like legal name IC.
Yeah.
Can I show this to the camera? And this
Yeah.
people IC number. Oh,
Yeah, but you can blur out, right?
Nanti
later.
if you can send
yeah,
this to us later,
yeah,
we'll
later
crop
you can
just
make
the
it
name.
appear here.
Yeah, this is an actual legal name.
Yeah.
You see, that's the thing, right?
Yo,
That's
so
how
this
people
guy,
view you.
this guy was born in 2002. In March 2002.
Firstly, how is he working? Shouldn't he be in school? What do you mean?
Yeah, he was an
2002?
intern. So he's 22 years old. He's an intern at the restaurant. He was working as a waiter. So
Imagine
that means
having that impact.
That means his parents named Like he was conceived in 2001. I wasn't really that famous yet.
There is no other person or other inspiration that could have been behind that name. But
Yeah. Yo, shout out to Joe Flizzow. There's a real Joe Flizzow out there, man. Yo, that's him. Yo.
we need to see if he can rap or something.
Nah, he probably, yeah. But I did end up video calling him, and then
That
I told
probably would have
him
made
like, yo, we
his
wanted
day.
to bring him and his parents down for a concert, so we might make that happen for Singapore. So
Yeah, that would be awesome.
need to get in touch with Joe Flizzow, the real Joe Flizzow,
The real one.
the real Joe Flizzow,
The realer
man.
than you, Joe
The
Flizzow.
real Joe Flizzow, man.
Oh my god. So okay, we're coming kind of like to the end of
Okay.
it. I just wanted to ask you some like hindsight questions, right? You, as a kid with a dream, did you see this? Is this where you wanted to be? Did you aim this high for yourself?
Oh, actually, I aim higher, man. I still dream, and it's just my way of berangan, you know. Like, I remember when I was in Bilbao for MTV European Awards with Yanis. So we were nominated for Best Southeast Asian Act. And
And you won that.
we won, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, and I ran out. It was like winter. I ran around the block. Then I came back and I saw Yanis. She was like tearing up. And like, I'm so happy. I'm so happy. And I was like, yo, we're going to win the Grammys next. And she's like, Joe, I know you're happy. I know you're excited. But relax. No need to talk about Grammys. And I'm like, why not? Like, we got to move forward, you know? Like, even if it's joking. Because I used to, me and my cousin Faris and Damien from VE. Damien used to be in a group, my cousin Faris, Soul Street. We used to practice like our awards features, you know? It's like, hey man, look like hold a cup like this and like thank God, my family. Shout out to my boys and Suba. Yo, what up, Suba? Yeah, we used to practice and it used to be so funny. Like, and you know, like 2 years later we were on the same stages, like winning awards, you know, and so I told Yanis like, man, Grammy. And Yanis like, oh man, but cause again, you know, there's that, you know, motherly instinct, like, I want to protect my cubs. And she's like, man, you know, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's just celebrate this win today. But ever since then, I'm like thinking of Grammy. How do we win a Grammy? And it might not be me. It might be, I don't know, the next artist that we work with. It might be Sona, it might be Aleph. But why not? You know, there's 100 categories at the Grammys every year. You don't necessarily have to go for best. You could go for best soundtrack in an animation. You get what I mean? You could go for like best poetry. You know, there's a category for spoken words. Why not? Or you could go for best album of the year. Like, it's okay to dream. So, yeah. I feel like you still have to have some sort of playfulness, you know, in your everyday approach. Because end of the day, we're making music. I always remind everybody like, hey man, don't forget we are making music. Our job is untuk menghiburkan orang. Kan? And walaupun orang akan maki, hina, cerca kita. But if you really look at it, right, hey, what is your job? What is the functionality of your profession? Is to give people joy. That's it. How can a song, unless, you know, it's propaganda or unless there's hidden messages, like how can art, music be bad? You know, like yeah. Because no matter what, every pelakon kat luar sana yang berlakon untuk drama atau untuk filem, of course mungkin ada sebab-sebab lain, tapi sebab yang paling penting ialah untuk menyiapkan hasil karya tu. Dan tujuan karya tu of course untuk yang mungkin ialah kita tak nak rugi, kita nak buat duit sikit. Tapi secara asasnya memang kita nak buat benda ni untuk menghiburkan orang. You know, Sudirman has a song like Aku penghiburmu. It's just so simple. That's all he says on the chorus. Aku penghiburmu. I'm your entertainer. That's it. End of story. So yeah, I feel like that's still how we operate lah, kan? Try to like keep it moving, try to travel as much, try to see the world, try to learn, but come back. It's important to be confident, but it's important to not be arrogant, I feel. It's very important to be confident, because if not, you know, you punya akar tu kena tegur kan. Tapi you can't bow down to a point where you're kissing the boots of people who don't care about the art. Yeah. Boom. And with that, this has been...
We have one last rapid fire segment and we're done.
I'm having fun.
Are you actually?
Yeah, no doubt.
I'm still stoked that you're here, and I.
No. I'm very happy to be here. I feel like this conversation has gone on very quick. Kan, macam tak sadar. Tiba-tiba dah lama juga.
Yeah.
Tapi tak apa.
So we have some fun rapid fire questions.
Okay.
Any particular artist that you'd like to collaborate with in future that you haven't already?
I want to really collaborate with, like on an international level, I want to collaborate with Damian Marley. You know, I've been a big fan of Damian Marley. Locally, like we've been talking about this for years, but we have never been in the studio even once. Like Yuna.
Oh, that would be amazing.
Yeah. But I feel like with Yuna, I think when the time comes, you know, hopefully. If not, pun tak apa. But I feel like the right song, whether it comes from her side or my side, like I feel like if I have the right song for Yuna right now, like, you know, she'll be like, I love it. It's got to be like that. You know, even with 𝙀𝙃𝙄𝙎, I remember when I hit 𝙀𝙃𝙄𝙎 up for Chow, and he was like, yo, Joe, you know, I'm so busy, man. I owe 25 artists, like, songs. Like, I said, yeah, man, but I ain't trying to be 26. I kind of need this, like, in the next month. But if you like it, if you like the song, jump on it. You know, if not, I'll hit you with another one. So I said, yeah, send me the beat. So I sent 𝙀𝙃𝙄𝙎 the beat. I didn't hear from him 2 days. And day 3, he was like, yo, you got mail. And it's like, oh, snap. He sent me back the vocals, the verse done. Got on another call, and I was like, yo, yeah, we need to shoot the video, right? So I feel like, you know, having a relationship with an artist is one thing, but also it's important to not force the artist to jump on a project that they're not excited about. You know, so with me, like a lot of people be like, Joe, I need you on a song. I say, okay, let me listen to the song. Like, if I'm not feeling it, I'm going to tell you. Yeah. Okay, next.
Okay. No, I was just thinking about me trying to low-key subliminally force you into coming to Studio Sembang.
Yeah.
For the past 2 years.
No.
Okay. Okay, next one. Would you ever consider dropping Coming to America?
The album?
Yeah.
Me, no. I feel like it's nice to have it in the archives of my studio. So for those who don't know, Coming to America is the unreleased English album that was supposed to come out. Then I decided to shelve it. So we have about 12 to 13 songs yang dah siap. Yeah. Maybe, man, you know. Maybe, because like I was listening to some of the songs like last month, and yeah, there's some heat there. I just feel like Coming to America is like friendly matches, you know, before, you know, the competition began. So it's like, yeah. I will play it, definitely, for anyone that comes through the studio. Whether or not it's worthy of a release, I don't know. Because it was, majority of the songs were produced by Sona, but it was also at the time when Sona was like transitional phase. I always tell him this, like, when I say transitional phase, like, Sona started off as a beat maker. Like, he made 30 beats a day. But he wasn't a songwriter yet. He wasn't a composer yet. Then he wasn't a songwriter yet. And then he wasn't a full. Now he's a polished producer. Like, he's the big brother, like, you know. Like, he comes in and all the heads must bow. Like, okay, Sona's here. Okay, you know what you need. And he can, like, pop, pop, pop. Okay, drum, pop, pop, you know. But that time he was still. So if you listen to the production, it's not. Yeah, it's very raw. Very raw. Yeah. Okay.
Just thought I'd ask. What do you do in your spare time? Like, do you have a hobby
Yeah.
outside of making music?
Yeah. Of course.
What is it?
What do I do?
I'm just trying to, because like when I was writing the script, I was just trying to imagine, like, with all the things you're doing, what does Joe Flizzow do in his free time? Firstly, does he have free time? Like,
Of course, I have free time. Like for instance, now bulan puasa, it's since the start of my career, I don't normally take any shows during bulan puasa, nor do I do interviews. Yeah, which is why it's special.
thank
That
you
day lah.
so much.
No, because we had to move because I was in Milan, right, when the initial dates.
Yeah.
And I came back in time, but I came back with a very bad jet lag, you know. So
I
I
can
did. I
imagine.
wanted to be on my best peak performance, you know, on the show. What do I do in my free time? I like the nature, you know. I like nature. Like you could ask the homies, like we'll hit up like random waterfalls, you know. I like going to the beach. I feel like I'm at the beach once a month. Like kalau macam dah masuk lebih dari sebulan tak pergi laut atau air terjun tu, I akan rasa macam dia akan memanggil lah. So I will somehow find my way on the beach. Whether it's a quick 2 days in Phuket or Langkawi or Johor, you know, like, yeah, I'm in nature quite a lot. When I was younger, my late father used to drive like in 4-wheel drive rallies. So he used to go off road, like, you know, Endau Rompin, like 5-6 days, like in the middle of the jungle. Like, you know, I climbed my first mountain when I was 12 years old because I was a big Boy Scout, you know, pengangkap, you know, fan and all that. So, and I really wanted to be in the military. In fact, that was my first like profession. I wanted to be an army guy. And the year that I was supposed to join Royal Military College, that particular year they decided to renovate the Form 1 punya hostel block. So they wrote to us and said that unfortunately this year we're not accepting Form 1. So I always look back at that moment when I got that letter, like, oh man, my life could have changed, like if I had gone to RMC, you know. But yeah. So yeah, my hobby, I like to, if I'm at home, I do regular stuff, you know, like I'm a big nerd when it comes to football games. I like playing this particular game called Football Manager. Football Manager, now it's 24. I've been playing this game for 20 years. It's if you look at my laptop, you'd be like, what the hell is this guy doing? It's just data. It's just like, you know, you manage a team. You manage everything from the training to the stadium to the sponsorship to signing players, selling players, loan, signing coaches, signing scouts. It is a super duper nerdy football game. It's like nerd level they were.
But I also feel like why
Only
does it sound
football
like,
nerds. Yo, it's in fact, you know, this game is so, the data is so accurate, right? That real life players have been discovered. By managers play this game. Footballers play this game. So you know Roberto Firmino, Liverpool? He was signed from this club called Hoffenheim. When he was at Hoffenheim, the scout at Hoffenheim plays this game. And keyed in, like, you know, it's like sort of like Moneyball. the Moneyball approach, you know. So they didn't have a big budget, but they needed to sign a Roberto Firmino type of player. They put in the data, and they found Firmino. They signed him for like, I don't know, few £1 million, 3, 4, £5 million. And I think 2 years later, they sold him to Liverpool for like 10 times the amount. So yeah, that's a little fun fact.
I feel like there are incredible parallels from what I'm hearing to
Right.
like even running a label.
Yeah, kind of.
Swap the football, similar
Yeah,
concept,
yeah.
management, structural, how to grow the player.
Yeah, and also like, I don't know, it's just, I don't know, you need to be a real like nerd to play this game. Like, yeah. Yeah, it's like, you know, like everybody plays fantasy Premier
Yeah.
League. It's like fantasy Premier League on steroids, like
Okay.
times 1,000. Yeah.
I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, it's like it'll make a 14-hour flight seem like 2 hours. Yeah.
No, I definitely have to check it
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
What is one thing you're scared of? And this can be like a small thing, like cockroaches. I don't know.
Man, rats. Rats, bro. Like bukan rat yang dekat tepi pasar 15 tu bukan Ini yang kecil. Mice.
The white ones with the red eyes.
No, I mean Malaysia dia tak. Malaysia ni macam grey dengan red eyes. Oh my
But those
god.
are usually like quite sometimes the size of cats, especially in SS15.
Yeah, but if they're in the home, I had a problem with like, it's not funny. I will be out. I'll leave the house.
Oh, really?
I'll be like, I'm out. Peace. I'm out. I'm taking the car. I'm out.
I'm moving it to your house now.
I'm like, somebody go catch this rat.
Oh my god. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I mean,
Landed
lipas.
property.
Okay, I mean, lipas. Nah. Rats, bro. Oh my god. Nah. Can't do rats.
Okay,
Just like
got
the
you.
thought of rats. Like, I'd rather like have a snake than a rat.
Then a rat.
You know what I mean? I don't know.
No, I get it.
Yeah.
For me, it's still lipas number one.
Because a snake is like slow and slithering. A rat is just like pa 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 pa. Where you at? And next thing you know, dalam kasut lu ke apa kan? Oh my god, bro.
I feel like there's
Yo.
like trauma.
Trauma.
behind this.
Yo, you know what happened? I think I put on a shoe and the rat was in the shoe one time or something
What?
like that.
Where were you?
Yo, I don't know. Yeah.
It always starts. There's always like one gateway
Yeah,
story
yeah,
into
yeah.
a phobia.
Why not rats?
Our final rapid fire question is one that we ask every week.
Okay.
And this is, if you have one, what is your favorite joke?
I got a lot of stupid jokes. Well, I gotta tell you the joke?
Yeah.
Okay. Dia more like teki-teki ya.
Yeah.
Okay, kalau slow, turtle. Kalau laju apa?
Turtle.
Turtle. Turtle. I like that one. Yeah. That's a... I got a lot of those, man, but maybe off the record.
No, it's okay.
Yeah.
We actually really enjoyed this segment because we...
Okay, macam...
Oh,
Okay,
no.
scorpion colour apa?
Hitam.
Salah.
Huh?
Scorpion colour jengking.
You tricked me because you told the joke in English. We kind of prepped some for you. Would you like some
Okay,
new
yeah, sure.
ammunition?
Yep.
This is kind of... Okay.
Okay.
What do rappers and vegans have in common?
No beef. Is it?
Fake beef.
Fake beef. Oh, okay. Okay, close.
What do you call a suspicious Malaysian rapper?
What? I don't know.
Salim Shady.
Oh, Salim Shady. Okay. These were curated for me, huh? Nice.
Yeah. We got some more. We'll save this for after the episode because it just gets worse and worse from here.
One more.
Okay.
Give me one more.
Okay. What do you call... This is a bit controversial. No, I don't know. I'll tell it to you. We might cut it out
Okay lah.
later. What do you call a girl that raps about women's rights?
Feminem.
Yes.
Yeah, got it. Yeah.
What do you call a rapper who always smells nice?
Oh no.
Post cologne.
Oh wow.
That's all we got.
Oh, well.
Close up.
Let's stick to our day jobs, huh?
Yeah, I don't. No future in this, maybe. But thank you so much.
No doubt. Thank you for
Joe,
having me.
for being on the show.
Keep doing your thing. And I'm sorry it took me a while to get here, but I'm very happy to be here.
It's okay.
And it's been really fun talking to you.
Thank you.
Inshallah, we'll be back. But yeah, until then.
So I'm gonna go home and take this off my bucket list, which I actually have
man.
written down.
Thank you.
But before we close up the episode, is there anything that you'd like to say to anyone watching?
Check out brand new video, Brillian with God, out now. Check out the track, check out the music video, get the merch. Selama Hari Raya, maaf saya batin, and thank you for the support, to all my fans out there. Peace and love. Thank you for having me. And
Thank you
to
so
everybody
much for coming on the show. This is a dream come true for me. And untuk korang kat rumah, if you haven't watched, this is Johan on View. I really actually highly recommend it. I think you should go watch it.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's really good. Thank you. And thank you guys for watching. And Selamat Hari Raya in advance. We'll be back next week. Same time, same place on Studio Sembang. Bye.